Chapter 1549. After the golden leopard left, Qin Feiyang and Willow Tree walked out from behind a pile of rocks. It flew over our heads and didn't even notice us. Your invisibility technique is really powerful. Willow Tree looked in the direction the golden leopard left and exclaimed. It's okay. Qin Feiyang smiled. Just now. After Willow Tree took him away, he immediately activated the invisibility technique. In other words, he and Willow Tree were still in the golden leopard's nest. Willow Tree retracted his gaze and looked at Qin Feiyang. He frowned and said, I really don't understand. Why did you do this? It's because of the totem. If we don't destroy the totem first, Mu Tianyang will definitely recognize it. Actually, you should have told me earlier that you have a totem. Qin Feiyang said helplessly. So that's the case. Willow Tree suddenly understood and said with a wry smile, I didn't expect the totem to be so important. Then let's hurry over. Qin Feiyang said. As he spoke, he took out a few healing pills with 6 elixir patterns and threw them to Willow Tree. 6 elixir patterns. Willow Tree was stunned. Hurry up. Qin Feiyang urged. Okay. Willow Tree nodded repeatedly and took a healing pill. Then, he took Qin Feiyang and used an auxiliary technique to disappear at lightning speed. On the way. Lu Mu wanted to say something but hesitated. What do you want to ask? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Willow Tree said, Did you refine this elixir? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Amazing. Willow Tree exclaimed. Qin Feiyang said lightly, What's so amazing about it? I can refine it with 7 elixir patterns. TSK. Willow Tree was speechless. Not only is his cultivation talent so monstrous, even his alchemy talent is so monstrous. How can other people survive? Qin Feiyang smiled. Suddenly, his expression froze. He lowered his head and pondered. What are you thinking? Willow Tree was suspicious. Speaking of elixir veins, I think of elixir fire. Is there a grade 8 pill fire here? Qin Feiyang asked. There is. Willow Tree said without hesitation. There is? Qin Feiyang stared blankly for a moment, then said with great joy, Where? My nether hall has an 8-star pill fire. The Heavenly Sun Empire and the main tower also have them. It's even said that there are people in the Vangu League and the Fengtian Palace who control grade 9 alchemy fires. Willow Tree said. 9th rank. Qin Feiyang's breathing became rapid. It was rare to see a grade 7 alchemy fire outside, but there was a grade 9 alchemy fire here. This was truly a place full of opportunities. After calming down, Qin Feiyang said, Tell me in detail about the Heavenly Sun Empire's situation here. First, he would definitely start with the Heavenly Sun Empire. On one hand, it was because the Heavenly Sun Empire and the Great Qin Empire had a grudge. On the other hand, it was because the people of the Heavenly Sun Empire trampled on the totem of the Great Qin Empire, which made him very angry. The population of the Heavenly Sun Empire is very large. It can be considered the most populous force. Their imperial capital is located in the south of this place, and there are 8 false gods overseeing it. There are naturally countless war king rankers. And the place we are going to now is called Peach Blossom City. Peach Blossom City is built at the edge of the Devil's Land. As for the origin of Peach Blossom City, it's a long story, so I'll just briefly explain it. You also know that there are many treasures in the Devil's Land, so there is no lack of people entering the Devil's Land to search for treasures. Of course, they only dare to search for treasures in the periphery and don't dare to go deep. But even so, everyone can still find many precious treasures. In the beginning, Peach Blossom City was just a temporary place for everyone to recuperate. But as more and more people came to search for treasures, the original place for recuperation gradually expanded. In the end, it became a city that occupied an area of more than 10 miles. Willow Tree said. I see. Qin Feiyang nodded and asked, then who is in charge of Peach Blossom City? No one is in charge of Peach Blossom City. That's because this city was built by friends from all over the world. But in Peach Blossom City, there is a rule that everyone agrees on. No one is allowed to destroy the city. Willow Tree said. No one is allowed to destroy. Qin Feiyang frowned. Yes. Willow Tree nodded and said, if anyone dares to destroy, they will be hunted down by everyone in the city. What about killing people? Qin Feiyang asked. Willow Tree smiled and said, that's fine. As long as they don't destroy the city, it's fine. Qin Feiyang nodded. And in Peach Blossom City, the Nether Hall, the Heavenly Sun Empire, and the main tower all have a stronghold. The main purpose is to buy rare treasures from those treasure hunters. This is the so-called snatching of resources. Willow Tree said. Qin Feiyang asked, what about the Vanga League and the Fengtian Palace? Willow Tree shook its head and said, these two transcendental forces disdain to compete with us because they both occupy a forbidden area with endless resources. How many forbidden areas are there? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Since they both occupied a forbidden area, the Devil's Land was definitely not the only forbidden area. 4. They are the Spectre Mountain, the Soul-Sealing Valley, the Nether Sea, and the Devil's Land where we are. The Fengtian Palace and the Vanga League are entrenched in the Soul-Sealing Valley and the Nether Sea. Willow Tree said. What about the Spectre Mountain? Qin Feiyang asked. The Spectre Mountain is the place where the dead are buried. Those who have reached the end of their lifespan will be buried there in the end. However, not just anyone can be buried there. First of all, you have to have the cultivation of a false god. Secondly, you have to be from the Fengtian Palace and the Vanga League. I don't have this qualification. I haven't even been there because the entrance is guarded by the Vanga League and the Fengtian Palace. It's because of this that it became a forbidden area. Willow Tree said. In that case, isn't the Spectre Mountain the private cemetery of the Fengtian Palace and the Vanga League? Qin Feiyang said. You can say that. Willow Tree nodded. These two forces are really domineering. Qin Feiyang pursed his lips. That's right. 3 of the 4 forbidden areas have been occupied by them. The remaining demonic land is not enough for the Nether Pavilion, the Tianyang Empire, and the main pagoda. Not to mention, there are 10 false god-level beasts guarding this demonic land. Even among the 3 forces, other than a false god like me, the other disciples don't dare to go in. In short, having a strong fist is the way of the king. Willow Tree shook his head and sighed. Qin Feiyang agreed with this sentence. Only the fist was strong had the right to be domineering. After thinking for a while, Qin Feiyang asked again, then, other than the various forces, is there anyone else here, such as a lone cultivator? Yes. Because there are too many restrictions if you join the major forces. Moreover, you have to participate in the disputes of the major forces. If you're not careful, you might lose your life. So, many people would rather be a lone cultivator. In fact, for those with average talent, the major forces can't wait for them to leave because it's a waste of resources to cultivate them. Moreover, after countless years of reproduction, more than half of the people here are lone cultivators. Willow Tree said. Qin Feiyang nodded and said, then, what's the full name of this small world? The Black Tortoise World. Willow Tree said. The Black Tortoise World, Qin Feiyang murmured. Willow Tree seemed to have thought of something, and his face became serious. There's also something I have to remind you of. What? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Willow Tree said, there's another rule in the Black Tortoise World. This rule is that no one can kill false god-level beasts. Why? Qin Feiyang frowned. Willow Tree shook his head and said, I don't know. This is the order of the Vanga League and the Fengtian Palace. Everyone has to follow it. Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Why did the Vanga League and the Fengtian Palace issue such an order? What did the divine beasts here have to do with them? Qin Feiyang said, what about the other beasts? That's up to you, as long as you have the ability. Willow Tree smiled. Got it. Qin Feiyang nodded thoughtfully. While they were talking, Willow Tree led Qin Feiyang for hundreds of thousands of miles. Willow Tree was quite familiar with the Devil's Land, so when he encountered the territory of the divine beasts, he bypassed it in advance. The other beasts did not pose a threat to him, so he was unimpeded along the way. Boom! Another half an hour passed. Sounds of battle gradually came from the front left. And he could sense the aura of humans. Willow Tree raised his eyebrows and murmured, although this is no longer the central area, it's still the deep area of the Devil's Land. Why would there be people here? He looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, do you want to go and take a look? Qin Feiyang glanced around and asked, are there any false god-level beasts nearby? No. The 10 false god-level beasts are all in the central area. But if there's too much noise, they will be drawn out. Willow Tree said. Qin Feiyang heard this, thought for a while, and nodded, then let's go and take a look. Okay. Chapter 1550. Rumble. Crack. In the sky above a forest, two figures fought crazily, causing the sky to darken. It was a man and a woman. The man was a purple-clothed young man. His grayish-white hair fluttered behind him, making rustling sounds. His body was also surrounded by grayish-white flames. These flames actually carried an aura of death. At first glance, it was as if he was possessed by the god of death. It gave people a feeling of fear and trepidation. The woman was a woman in white. Her clothes were tattered and stained with blood. Both of their cultivations had reached the peak of the 9-star combat emperor realm. But in comparison, the purple-clothed young man's strength was much stronger than the white-clothed woman's. Who are you? You're so strong. Why haven't I seen you before in Peach Blossom City? The white-clothed woman shouted as she desperately resisted and looked at the purple-clothed young man in shock and anger. Peach Blossom City. The purple-clothed young man was stunned and said, what the hell is Peach Blossom City? You don't even know Peach Blossom City. Could it be? The white-clothed woman looked at the purple-clothed young man in surprise. The purple-clothed young man waved his hand impatiently and said, don't care who I am. Just hand over your chi and blood obediently. He had a dignified appearance and was extraordinarily handsome. However, his entire body exuded a shocking evil aura, like a demon. The white-clothed woman said angrily, why do you want my chi and blood? Do I have a grudge against you? No. You can only blame your bad luck for bumping into me. The purple-clothed young man laughed sinisterly. The grayish-white flames were like a huge wave, drowning the sky. A shocking scene appeared. Wherever the huge wave passed, whether it was the surrounding beasts or flowers and trees, their chi and blood and essence were rapidly drained and withered. It was like a terrible plague. You've gone too far. The white-clothed woman was furious. They had just met by chance, but he actually forced her to hand over her chi and blood without any explanation. Wasn't this the behavior of a demon? She raised her hands and pushed fiercely. Battle chi surged. A huge violent ape roared as it charged out. The violent ape was hundreds of feet tall. It had 3 heads and 6 arms. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws. It was like an ancient demon ape. Its ferocity was extremely terrifying. The purple-clothed young man smiled disdainfully, and a grayish-white flame swept out. When the violent ape was submerged in the flames, the white-clothed woman's expression changed. She could feel that the flame was robbing the violent ape's energy. The violent ape was formed from battle chi. Under the plundering of the flames, the violent ape collapsed in the void in less than 3 breaths. As for the scattered battle chi, it was completely absorbed by the flames, leaving not a single trace behind. How is this possible? The white-robed woman was dumbfounded. Not only could it plunder the blood essence of beasts and the essence of plants, it could even plunder battle chi. Was this person really a demon? Thinking of this, the white-clothed woman's eyes were filled with fear. She turned around and took a mysterious step, flying away like lightning. None of the prey that I've locked onto have been able to escape. The purple-robed young man snickered and stuck out his scarlet tongue like a demon from hell. Whoosh! The next moment, he turned into a grayish-white flowing light and caught up to the white-clothed woman in a few blinks of an eye. His big hand was like a devil's claw, reaching for the white-clothed woman's head. With a cracking sound, the white-clothed woman's skull shattered. His 5 fingers sank into her head. Waves of blood essence flowed into the purple-robed young man's body through his 5 fingers like a tide. Haha, this feeling is really good. With this demonic skill in hand, I will dominate the world sooner or later. Those who follow me will prosper, and those who oppose me will die. The purple-robed young man laughed wildly. After a while, the white-clothed woman turned into a dried corpse. Her angry eyes were filled with fear and despair before death. Trash! The purple-robed young man threw away the white-clothed woman's corpse and then glanced at the jungle below. He snickered and said, "Who will be the next prey? Don't be as boring as this time." After saying that, he turned around and left. Soon, 2 figures broke through the air and arrived. It was Qin Feiyang and Willow Tree. Damn, this is too cruel. When he saw the woman's corpse, Willow Tree's eyes widened in shock. However, Qin Feiyang frowned. What's wrong? Willow Tree came back to his senses and looked at him suspiciously. I'm very familiar with the way she died. And here, Qin Feiyang raised his head and glanced at the void. A cold light surged in his eyes, and he said, I'm also familiar with the remaining aura here. Who? Willow Tree was surprised. Zhuge Mingyang. Qin Feiyang said word by word. This guy really didn't die. He actually came here to stir up trouble. Zhuge Mingyang. Willow Tree was stunned and said in surprise, is it the person you said can't be killed? Qin Feiyang nodded and frowned, I killed him 3 times, but each time he came back from the dead. I really don't understand. How did he do it? Willow Tree was secretly speechless. He didn't die after being killed 3 times. Was he the reincarnation of a cockroach? Wait. Suddenly, he looked at the white-clothed woman. As her chi and blood had been completely absorbed, not only had she turned into a mummy, even her face had become extremely old. It was difficult to recognize her at a glance. However, Willow Tree felt that she was somewhat familiar. He carefully identified her for a moment and exclaimed, she's actually Muing. Muing? Qin Feiyang was startled, and asked suspiciously, who is it? Someone from the Heavenly Sun Empire. He's one of the people in charge of the stronghold in Peach Blossom City. Willow Tree said. So it's like that. Qin Feiyang nodded in realization. Willow Tree laughed sinisterly, Zhuge Mingyang killed someone from the Heavenly Sun Empire. If the others from the Heavenly Sun Empire find out, they will definitely not let this matter rest. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang looked at him. Since this Zhuge Mingyang can't be killed, then we might as well make good use of it. Willow Tree said, his eyes shining. Good idea. However, we need to have concrete evidence. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, looked at Willow Tree and asked, can we use the image crystal here? Since they could fly here and control the castle, then they should be able to use the image crystal. Yes. Willow Tree nodded. Then that's easy. Qin Feiyang smiled, called out White-Eyed Wolf, and said, quickly track Zhuge Mingyang's whereabouts. Okay. White-Eyed Wolf nodded, stood up, sniffed carefully, and pointed in the direction Zhuge Mingyang went, and said, over there. Follow him. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Willow Tree waved his hand, rolled up Qin Feiyang and White-Eyed Wolf, and immediately chased after Zhuge Mingyang. Willow Tree was a false god, and he had mastered an auxiliary divine art. How astonishing was his speed! In less than 100 breaths, he took Qin Feiyang and White-Eyed Wolf and caught up with Zhuge Mingyang. But he did not expose his whereabouts. 2 people and a wolf hid in the forest below, secretly following. Whoosh! Soon, a black-clothed old man appeared in front of them. Willow Tree looked at the black-clothed old man and said, he is from the main tower, called Moyi. He is also one of the people in charge of the main tower's stronghold in Peach Blossom City. White-Eyed Wolf said, he should also be killed by Zhuge Mingyang. Qin Feiyang laughed, so quickly prepare the image crystal to record it. Willow Tree nodded and immediately took out the image crystal. Zhuge Mingyang also saw the black-clothed old man, and a bloodthirsty light flashed in his eyes. But then, his aura was completely restrained. His eyes also softened. The black-clothed old man also noticed Zhuge Mingyang. Although Zhuge Mingyang looked harmless, the black-clothed old man did not let down his guard. Because someone who could walk into the depths of the devil's land was definitely not a simple person. Old man. Zhuge Mingyang went up to greet him and cupped his hands. You are. The black-clothed old man stopped in front of Zhuge Mingyang and looked at this unfamiliar face suspiciously. Zhuge Mingyang smiled and said, Junior is Zhuge Mingyang. I would like to ask you, old man, how do I get to Peach Blossom City? Zhuge Mingyang. The black-clothed old man was slightly stunned. He had never heard of this name before. Zhuge Mingyang asked suspiciously, old man, is there a problem? No, no. The black-clothed old man waved his hand and laughed, Peach Blossom City is in the west, you can see it when you walk out of this devil's land. Thank you. Junior will take his leave. Zhuge Mingyang cupped his hands and brushed past the black-clothed old man. As they brushed past each other, a hint of killing intent flashed through his eyes. But at the same time, the black-clothed old man suddenly thought of something and turned to look at Zhuge Mingyang, saying, wait. Zhuge Mingyang was stunned, he turned to look at the black-clothed old man and asked, old man, is there anything else? The black-clothed old man's expression became even more vigilant, and he said, which faction are you from? Why don't you know Peach Blossom City? Which faction? Zhuge Mingyang was stunned and asked, are there many other factions here? The black-clothed old man's face stiffened, and he said, you are from the outside world. That's right. Zhuge Mingyang did not deny it. Then where are you from? Forgotten Continent? Or the Great Qin Empire? The black-clothed old man asked. Even the Forgotten Continent and the Great Qin Empire know. Zhuge Mingyang was surprised, and said, old man, where exactly is this place? And who are you? The black-clothed old man said, answer this old man's question first. No, no, no. Zhuge Mingyang simply turned around, looked at the black-clothed old man, and said with a smile, you have to answer my question first, then I will answer yours. The black-clothed old man's gaze darkened. Sigh, I really can't pretend anymore. Zhuge Mingyang shook his head, a fierce light flashing in his eyes, and the grayish-white flames also broke out of his body. The aura of death instantly enveloped the surroundings. The black-clothed old man was shocked, and he retreated like lightning. Zhuge Mingyang chased after him and laughed, it has always been me, Zhuge Mingyang, who interrogates others, no one has the guts to interrogate me. Impudent. The black-clothed old man shouted. You're courting death. Killing intent surged in Zhuge Mingyang's eyes, and the grayish-white flames were like a tsunami, surging towards the black-clothed old man. The black-clothed old man did not dare to be careless, and immediately counterattacked. However, just like the white-clothed woman before, the battle technique that he evolved was quickly devoured by the grayish-white flames. Chapter 1551. He can even devour battle arts. This, Willow Tree was dumbfounded. Qin Feiyang and White-Eyed Wolf were also shocked by Zhuge Mingyang's methods. This person's strength and methods were much stronger than before. Zhuge Mingyang waved his hand and grabbed the black-clothed old man's neck. His eyes flickered with blood as he said, "Can you answer my question now?" The black-clothed old man quivered and hurriedly said, "I'm from the main tower." "You're from the main tower?" Zhuge Mingyang was stunned and said, "Since you're from the main tower, why don't you recognize me, Zhuge Mingyang?" The black-clothed old man said, "It's a long story. Let me go and I'll tell you slowly." "Slowly? Do you think I have a lot of time?" "Since you can't explain it clearly in a short time, then don't say it. In any case, whether you're from the main tower or the Great Qin, you must be killed." Zhuge Mingyang smiled sinisterly. His 5 fingers suddenly exerted force, and the black-clothed old man's neck was broken on the spot. The blood and qi in his body were all absorbed by him, and he became a dried corpse. Willow Tree said in shock, "Damn, what kind of demonic technique is this? It's too crazy." "I don't know either." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Suddenly, Zhuge Mingyang lowered his head and scanned the forest. His eyes were incomparably sharp as he shouted, "Who's down there? Have we been discovered?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. "How dare you spy on me from the dark? You're courting death." Zhuge Mingyang did not say anything and waved his hand. Suddenly, grayish-white flames poured down like a waterfall. "You really think you're something?" Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. Without waiting for Qin Feiyang's order, Willow Tree waved his hand and blasted the flames with divine power. With a rumble, the flames were instantly extinguished. Zhuge Mingyang's body trembled. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His face was full of shock. It was actually a false god. But at the same time, Qin Feiyang, Willow Tree, and White-Eyed Wolf were also dumbfounded. The blood that flowed out of Zhuge Mingyang's mouth had also turned grayish-white. This was too inconceivable. Qin Feiyang took a step forward and soared into the sky, landing in front of Zhuge Mingyang. White-Eyed Wolf and Willow Tree followed closely behind him. "So it's you." Zhuge Mingyang smirked at Qin Feiyang. "Not bad. He reached the peak of the 9-star combat emperor realm so quickly." Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Zhuge Mingyang grinned. "I have to thank you for that." Qin Feiyang smiled. Zhuge Mingyang's gaze turned and fell on Willow Tree. His pupils shrank slightly. Then, he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "You're not bad either. You actually subdued a false god. Compared to you, I'm still far behind. Let's cut the crap. Let's work together." Qin Feiyang said. "Work together?" Zhuge Mingyang was stunned and said in surprise, "You actually want to work with me? Is the sun rising from the west?" Qin Feiyang said indifferently, "There are no eternal enemies, only eternal benefits. You should understand this." "That's right." Zhuge Mingyang nodded and said jokingly, "But do you think there's a possibility of us working together?" "Why not?" Qin Feiyang smiled. "Haha," Zhuge Mingyang raised his head and laughed. "Don't tell me you want to get back together with me after seeing my transformation and achievements today. If that's really the case, then you've disappointed me." "Presumptuous!" Willow Tree shouted angrily. Zhuge Mingyang's eyes suddenly turned cold. He looked at Willow Tree and shouted, "You're the one who's presumptuous. I'm talking to your master. Who are you to interrupt?" Willow Tree's face was gloomy. It seems that I've hit your sore spot. But thinking about it, as a false god, it must be very uncomfortable to listen to a 6-star combat emperor. Zhuge Mingyang sneered. Willow Tree could no longer control himself and was about to attack. But at this time, Qin Feiyang stopped him and said with a smile, "Why bother with a clown?" Yes. I'm a clown. However, sooner or later, you'll die in the hands of a clown like me. Zhuge Mingyang laughed. I'll wait. Let's talk about the current situation first. Do you want to cooperate? Qin Feiyang said. No need. Zhuge Mingyang was dismissive. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and led White-Eyed Wolf and Willow Tree away. You're leaving just like that? Zhuge Mingyang was stunned and said angrily, "Stop right there. Is there anything else?" Qin Feiyang stopped and said without looking back. Zhuge Mingyang said, "Shouldn't you kill me now? Why don't you do it? Do you really want me to kill you?" Qin Feiyang turned to look at Zhuge Mingyang and asked. Yes. Very much. Because the more you kill me, the stronger I will become. Zhuge Mingyang grinned. Is that so? Then I can't kill you. However, you can find someone else, such as Mu Tianyang. He's in the Devil's Land now. Also, there are 10 pseudo-god beasts in the central area. If you really want to die, you can go find them. Qin Feiyang said. You have no guts. You're a coward. I despise you. Zhuge Mingyang roared. Do you think you can anger me like this? Qin Feiyang turned his head and shot a glance at Zhuge Mingyang. His face was filled with disdain. Immediately after, his eyes flashed and he said, "The Peach Blossom City that you want to know, I know where it is." Where is it? Zhuge Mingyang raised his eyebrows. In the west, you can see it when you walk out of this mountain range. There are many things you can't imagine there. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he did not stay any longer and quickly disappeared. He deliberately said this to lead Zhuge Mingyang to Peach Blossom City. Peach Blossom City, Zhuge Mingyang muttered to himself and scanned his surroundings. What was this place? Why did it look so strange? Whoosh! At that moment, he turned in the air and flew toward the west. In the forest, Willow Tree frowned and said, "Why is he in such a hurry to die? This Zhuge Mingyang, there must be something wrong with his head. Maybe he's not lying. The more you kill him, the stronger his cultivation will become." Qin Feiyang said. White-Eyed Wolf said, "If that's the case, then the next time you kill him, will he be able to directly step into the pseudo-god realm? I'm afraid it's not that easy. If you want to break this shackle, you can only comprehend the profound meaning of becoming a god." After Willow Tree finished speaking, he looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "Also, why didn't he find someone else but you? Could it be that this demonic art of his has something to do with you? Who knows?" Qin Feiyang rubbed his forehead, unable to figure it out. Willow Tree said, "Then what should we do now?" Qin Feiyang said, "Go and record the corpse of the woman in white, and then spread it through your network. It's not a problem to spread it. But when Muing died, we weren't there. Just recording her corpse is not enough to prove that she was killed by Zhuge Mingyang." Willow Tree frowned. No, it's enough to prove it. Because her death is exactly the same as that of the old man in black. Qin Feiyang said. Willow Tree was stunned, then nodded and said with a smile, "I didn't think of that. Okay, wait for me here. I'll be right there." Swish. After saying that, he took a big stride and disappeared without a trace. White-Eyed Wolf retracted his gaze and looked at Qin Feiyang, saying, "Little Qin Zi, do you think Zhuge Mingyang is in cahoots with Mu Tianyang?" "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked suspiciously. "Do you still remember what happened at the Crocodile Emperor's water source?" White-Eyed Wolf asked. Qin Feiyang nodded. At that time, you caught Lu Xingqian. Lu Xingqian was doomed, but Zhuge Mingyang suddenly made a move secretly and let Lu Xingqian escape from your hands. If the two of them are not in cahoots, why would he help Lu Xingqian? White-Eyed Wolf said. This is easy to explain. Judging from his usual behavior, he just wants to go against me. Anything that's disadvantageous to me, he'll stick his foot in. Also, Mu Tianyang's existence can help him share some of the pressure. After all, once Mu Tianyang is dead, I can focus on dealing with him. I think Mu Tianyang should be thinking the same. Qin Feiyang said. White-Eyed Wolf said angrily, these two damn bastards are getting more and more troublesome. It doesn't matter. They are growing, so are we. It's still unknown who will emerge victorious. Qin Feiyang smiled indifferently, but a cold light flashed in his eyes. White-Eyed Wolf said, you can't be careless. If the two of them really join forces, it will be really troublesome. I know. Qin Feiyang nodded. Whoosh. After a while, Willow Tree came back again. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, the news has been spread. As for whether they will come in to hunt down Zhuge Mingyang, we will know in a while. Qin Feiyang nodded and asked, can we use the teleportation gate here? Willow Tree said, not in the 4 forbidden areas, but outside it is. Qin Feiyang said, how long will it take to reach Peach Blossom City? Willow Tree thought for a moment and said, according to my speed, it should take another hour. Then let's go. Qin Feiyang laughed and sent White-Eyed Wolf to the castle. Willow Tree waved his hand, rolled up Qin Feiyang, and rushed towards the west. As Zhuge Mingyang was also going to Peach Blossom City, they soon saw Zhuge Mingyang again. The two of them were not in a hurry to travel. They followed Zhuge Mingyang from the beginning to the end, maintaining a distance of 50 to 60 miles. And this time, their auras were restrained to the extreme. Zhuge Mingyang did not notice them. About 100 breaths of time. Buzz. Suddenly, Willow Tree's image crystal sounded. Willow Tree quickly took out the image crystal. Qin Feiyang silently retreated to the side. At that moment, the image of a white-clothed old woman appeared. Looking at Willow Tree, the white-clothed old woman looked extremely respectful. She bowed and said, greetings, Elder Lu. Willow Tree nodded and asked, what is the reaction of the main pagoda and the Heavenly Sun Empire? The white-clothed old woman said, they have already sent people to guard the entrance of the Devil's Land. How many people? Willow Tree said. The white-clothed old woman said, they have sent 10 people each, all of whom are at the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm. Very good. Give the order now. No matter what happens later, our Netherhall's people are not to interfere. Willow Tree said. Yes. The white-clothed old woman respectfully replied, and the image quickly dissipated. Willow Tree also put away the image crystal, turned to look at Qin Feiyang, and laughed sinisterly, there will be a good show to watch later. I'm looking forward to it. Chapter 1552. Time flew by, and the sky gradually darkened. In the evening, a white mist gradually emerged from the Devil's Land, making this place even more mysterious. Finally, the entrance to the Devil's Land entered Qin Feiyang's line of sight. It was a majestic mountain ridge that extended to the end of the world on both sides, with only one gap. This gap was the entrance. Qin Feiyang asked, is there only one entrance to the Devil's Land? Willow Tree nodded and did not continue to follow Zhuge Mingyang, and rushed towards the mountain ridge on the side. Not long after, the two climbed up the mountain ridge. A castle in the distance immediately entered Qin Feiyang's line of sight. The city covered an area of about a dozen miles and was located in the middle of a vast plain. There were no big trees on the plain, and it was full of green grass. The view was very wide. Although it was already evening, there were still many children playing on the plain. Between the plain and the mountain ridge, there was a river. It was about half a mile wide, like a winding python, separating Peach Blossom City and the Devil's Land. However, Qin Feiyang was surprised to find that the water in the river was black, like ink. It was extremely strange. Willow Tree said, "This river is called the River of Bone Erosion, and it surrounds the entire Devil's Land." River of Bone Erosion? Qin Feiyang was stunned. That's right. This River of Bone Erosion is a natural barrier that no one can cross. Willow Tree said with an extremely solemn expression. Really? Qin Feiyang looked at the river in surprise. Of course it's true. That's because this river contains a mysterious power. Even a false god can't fly above the river. Moreover, this mysterious force will be like an invisible hand, pulling you into the river. Willow Tree said. So magical. Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked, "What will happen if I fall into the river?" Willow Tree said, "The body will be corroded by the river, and even the bones will not be left. This is why it is called the River of Bone Erosion." So powerful. Qin Feiyang was shocked. Yes. Even if I were to fall into the river, I wouldn't be able to escape death, let alone a battle emperor like you. Willow Tree said. Qin Feiyang was secretly flabbergasted. He glanced at the river and suddenly saw a stone bridge in front of the entrance to the Devil's Land. The stone bridge was about 2 meters wide. It was completely black and gave off an ancient aura. It stretched across the sky above the River of Bone Erosion, connecting the Devil's Land to the plains on the other side. Qin Feiyang asked, "Is that the only entrance?" "Yes." Willow Tree said. Qin Feiyang nodded and turned to look at Zhuge Mingyang. At this moment, Zhuge Mingyang had almost reached the entrance. Qin Feiyang asked, "Can you guess where the main tower and Heavenly Sun Empire's people are hiding?" "It should be in the dense forest on both sides of the entrance." Willow Tree said with a smile. Qin Feiyang looked at the River of Bone Erosion again, his eyes flashing. "What are you thinking?" Willow Tree was suspicious. "This river can even kill a false god. If Zhuge Mingyang falls into it, won't he have a chance to revive?" Qin Feiyang whispered. "Yes. Why didn't I think of that? All living beings that fall into the River of Bone Corrosion, without exception, will be destroyed in both body and soul. No matter how heaven-defying this person is, he won't be able to revive." Willow Tree said excitedly. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with killing intent, then changed the plan and take the opportunity to push him into the River of Bone Erosion. Back in the imperial capital, he didn't put Zhuge Mingyang in his eyes at all. But since entering the divine ruin, Zhuge Mingyang's ability had exceeded his imagination time and time again. This made him have no choice but to treat him seriously. As long as there was a chance, he had to think of a way to get rid of him. And then there was Zhuge Mingyang. He suddenly stopped and looked at the entrance in front of him. Why did he stop? Did he find an ambush? Willow Tree was bewildered. Maybe. After all, his perception and insight are much stronger than before. Qin Feiyang said. If it was in the past, Zhuge Mingyang definitely wouldn't have been able to find them when they were killing the black-clothed old man. This meant that not only was Zhuge Mingyang's strength transforming, but other aspects were also changing. Kiki. Suddenly, Zhuge Mingyang laughed sinisterly and continued to fly toward the entrance. Look at the smile on his face, he must have found an ambush. But he's still so fearless even after finding out. What is this guy relying on? Willow Tree frowned. In less than 5 breaths, Zhuge Mingyang flew above the entrance. The River of Bone Erosion and the opposite Peach Blossom City immediately entered his sight. Qin Feiyang really didn't lie to me. But, what does he want to do? Could it be that the people lying in ambush here have something to do with him? He wants to kill with a borrowed knife? Zhuge Mingyang looked at Peach Blossom City, his eyes flickering. Suddenly, he stopped again and stood in the air, looking down at the jungle below, and said, "All of you are hiding like cowards. Don't you feel uncomfortable? Come out." He actually found out. In the jungle, a surprised voice immediately sounded. Whoosh! Immediately after, 20 figures rushed out like lightning, and a terrifying aura burst out one after another. Among these 20 people, there were men and women, old and young. But without exception, the aura they exuded was extremely terrifying, and their eyes were shining with a fierce light. Are they really coming for me? Zhuge Mingyang was surprised. Previously, he only sensed that there was an ambush. But he wasn't sure if they were ambushing him. Those 20 people soared into the sky and surrounded Zhuge Mingyang. Not bad. 20 peak 9-star war emperors, you really think highly of me, Zhuge Mingyang. But I'm very puzzled, who are you people? Why are you ambushing me here? Zhuge Mingyang laughed. You cruelly killed Muing and Mo Yi, and you still dare to ask us why? One of the old women in green stared at Zhuge Mingyang coldly. Muing? Mo Yi? Who is it? Why don't I remember killing them? Zhuge Mingyang was suspicious. You still dare to quibble? The old woman in green roared and took out an image crystal. A video appeared in the void. It was the scene when Zhuge Mingyang killed the old man in black. So it's them. Zhuge Mingyang suddenly realized and laughed, so, it's really Qin Feiyang who asked you to intercept me here. Qin Feiyang. The 20 people looked at each other and were puzzled. You actually don't know Qin Feiyang? Could it be that there were other people present at that time? Zhuge Mingyang was surprised. The old woman in green roared, don't worry about that. Whoever dares to kill people from our two forces, they must pay the price. Attack! The 20 people moved in unison. Battle arts. Fighting souls. It shocked everyone. Moreover, all of them were perfect battle arts. Hey! Zhuge Mingyang grinned. His blood-red eyes were like a devil's, filled with a vicious aura that couldn't be dispersed. Roar! The next moment, accompanied by a dragon's roar, a huge monster emerged from behind him. It was a gigantic dragon. The mighty dragon's aura covered the sky and rolled in all directions. Seeing the huge dragon, the old woman in green and the others did not have much of a reaction. However, Qin Feiyang's face was filled with disbelief. When they had fought at the White Bone Canyon previously, Zhuge Mingyang's Azure Dragon fighting soul had already changed. However, last time, only the color and aura of the fighting soul had changed. Previously, it was an Azure Dragon. Last time, it was a gray-white dragon. However, the fighting soul that had appeared now had a different shape and was only left with a skeleton. In other words, at this moment, the fighting soul that Zhuge Mingyang had summoned was a skeletal dragon. The skeletal dragon's body was gray-white and emitted a deathly aura that was many times stronger than the last time. From the Azure Dragon, it became a gray-white dragon. From the gray-white dragon, it became a skeletal dragon. Could it be that this fighting soul would continue to change following Zhuge Mingyang's death? I'll let you have a taste of desperation. Zhuge Mingyang looked disdainfully in all directions. His eyes were filled with disdain as he said word by word, innate superpower, destroy. The skeletal dragon immediately roared towards the sky. An invisible force, with it as the center, rolled out in all directions. At first, the old woman in green and the others did not care. However, when they were enveloped by the invisible force, the group of people's faces changed. Their cultivation levels began to plummet. 9-star Combat Emperor. 8-star Combat Emperor. 7-star Combat Emperor. What? Qin Feiyang's body and mind trembled. He was deeply shocked once again. What's wrong? Willow Tree looked at him in surprise. In the past, his innate superpower could only cause one's cultivation level to drop by a small realm. Last time, because of the transformation of the fighting soul, his innate superpower had also evolved and could cause one's cultivation level to drop by 2 small realms. However, I did not expect his innate superpower to evolve again. Dropping by 3 small realms, terrifying, truly terrifying. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. Originally, the old woman in green and the others' cultivation levels were the same as Zhuge Mingyang's. However, now, the group of people had all become 7-star combat emperors. As for Zhuge Mingyang, he was still at the peak realm. They were merely 7-star combat emperors. Even if there were 200 or 2,000 of them, Zhuge Mingyang would be able to kill them easily. Because this was the difference between them. Innate superpower can evolve. Willow Tree was stunned. This must be a joke. After living for so many years, he had never heard of such a thing. Qin Feiyang suddenly turned his head to look at Willow Tree and said, "Those people are definitely no match for him. Go down immediately and find an opportunity to throw him into the river of erosion." Understood. Willow Tree nodded and retracted his aura. Like a ghost, he swept into the forest below. Indeed, it was as Qin Feiyang had expected. After the 20 people's cultivation levels dropped, they did not have the courage to continue fighting. They turned around and ran for their lives. As for the fighting skills and fighting souls that they had evolved, their power was greatly reduced under Zhuge Mingyang's innate superpower. They were no threat to Zhuge Mingyang at all. Rumble. Crack. Zhuge Mingyang only released his aura and the fighting souls were destroyed one after another. Following that, he took a step forward and killed the old woman in green with a palm strike. The blood qi was also completely absorbed by Zhuge Mingyang. Only a dry corpse was left and it fell to the ground with a thud. Chapter 1553. Don't kill us. I beg you, let us go. It's us who were blind, the group of people begged as they fled. However, Zhuge Mingyang was like a demon god. His grayish-white pupils were filled with coldness and ruthlessness. He killed 1 person with each step. In less than 10 breaths. The remaining 19 people had all died and turned into dried corpses. What a bunch of idiots who don't know their own limits. Zhuge Mingyang was disdainful. He then raised his head and scanned the mountains on both sides. He sneered, "Qin Feiyang, I know you must be hiding nearby. Come out quickly. Don't hide like a turtle and not dare to see anyone." Qin Feiyang clenched his fists, a cold light flashing in his eyes. "You're not coming out. It doesn't matter. Anyway, you're no longer my match now." Zhuge Mingyang smiled contemptuously and raised his head to look at Peach Blossom City opposite him. His eyes were filled with a bloodthirsty light. At the same time, the commotion here had already alarmed the people of Peach Blossom City opposite. There were no less than 1,000 people gathered on the city wall. Their cultivation levels were basically 8-star combat emperors and above. However, looking at Zhuge Mingyang, their eyes were filled with fear. The children who were originally playing on the plains had already been picked up. Zhuge Mingyang asked with a smile, "Are you guys ready?" His voice was like a bell, spreading into Peach Blossom City. Ready for what? What does he want to do? Everyone was bewildered. Prepare to welcome the arrival of the death god. Zhuge Mingyang raised his head and laughed loudly. He took a step forward and entered the sky above the river of bone erosion. But he didn't know. The river of bone erosion had a mysterious power. Immediately, he lost his balance and felt as if an invisible hand was dragging him into the river. What's going on? Zhuge Mingyang was bewildered. Seeing that he was about to fall into the river of bone erosion, he suddenly turned in the air and forcefully took a step out of the void, grabbing the stone bridge beside him. He actually didn't fall. What good luck! The people on the city wall were indignant. This kind of person should fall into the river of bone corrosion and not even have a corpse left. So there is something fishy about this river. Zhuge Mingyang glanced at the river below. With a slight push of his arm, he flipped over and landed steadily on the stone bridge. However, at this moment, Willow Tree, who had been hiding for a long time, suddenly dashed out from behind a rock at the end of the bridge like a bolt of lightning and slapped at Zhuge Mingyang's back. You were indeed hiding in the dark. Zhuge Mingyang smirked and activated his fighting soul. His gifted superpower reappeared. Willow Tree's cultivation level instantly dropped to the peak of the 9-star Combat Emperor realm. How is this possible? Willow Tree was shocked. Qin Feiyang was also dumbfounded. Even a false god couldn't escape the suppression of this innate ability. Hee. Zhuge Mingyang abruptly turned around and looked at Willow Tree. He bared his white teeth and threw a punch. Gray-white battle chi surged out. Willow Tree quivered and came back to his senses. The battle chi in his palm roared. Boom! The fist and the palm met in an instant. A destructive aura crazily rolled out. Willow Tree's face turned pale and his feet retreated. On the other hand, Zhuge Mingyang didn't move at all. What is going on? Even if my cultivation level dropped to the peak of the 9-star Combat Emperor realm, my strength shouldn't be so weak. Willow Tree's face was filled with disbelief. It's not that your strength is weak, it's that my strength is too strong. Because my current battle chi is 1 level stronger than any of your battle chi. This is an absolute advantage. In the same realm, I am invincible. Haha, Zhuge Mingyang laughed wildly. The stone bridge under their feet didn't move at all, as if it was made of divine iron. Willow Tree's face was dull. At this moment, he finally understood why even Qin Feiyang was so afraid of that man. Too terrifying. He was simply a monster. However, Zhuge Mingyang's innate ability seemed to only be able to deprive him of a small realm. If that was the case, then the problem wasn't too big. I've killed many people, but I've never killed a false god. Today, I want to have a taste of what it's like to crush a false god. Zhuge Mingyang was overbearing as he took a step forward and slapped towards Willow Tree. Then I'd like to see if you have the ability to do so. Willow Tree was enraged. After all, he was a false god, how could he allow a mere war king to be so presumptuous? But at the same time, Qin Feiyang stepped on the air and landed on the bridge. He looked at Zhuge Mingyang and said, "You want to fight? I'll accompany you." After he finished speaking, he directly stepped onto the stone bridge and charged towards Zhuge Mingyang. At the same time, he sent a sound transmission to Willow Tree, "Go to Peach Blossom City first and pretend that you don't know me." When Zhuge Mingyang saw Qin Feiyang, killing intent immediately surged in his eyes. He immediately gave up on Willow Tree and charged towards Qin Feiyang. Who is he? The people on the city wall looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Willow Tree looked at Qin Feiyang and Zhuge Mingyang, his eyes flashed, and he turned into a ray of light. He quickly left the stone bridge, crossed the plains, and landed on the city wall. After leaving the range of his innate ability, his cultivation level immediately returned to the false god realm. And from the beginning to the end, his cultivation level had never dropped again. This meant that Zhuge Mingyang's innate ability could only cause the false god realm to drop by a small realm. Elder Lu, who are they? Why are they so unfamiliar? A group of people immediately swarmed forward and asked Willow Tree. Among these people, there were people from the main tower, the Heavenly Sun Empire, and the Nether Hall. I don't know who they are either. Willow Tree shook his head. However, he was secretly paying close attention to Qin Feiyang's situation. At this moment, Qin Feiyang had already entered the range of Zhuge Mingyang's innate ability. He did not activate the kill art. The cultivation level of a 6-star combat emperor instantly dropped to a 3-star combat emperor. How are you going to fight me with this little strength? You always say that I'm a clown, but I think you're worse than a clown. Zhuge Mingyang laughed loudly. Humph. Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. Battle art, armor activated. Come, let me see how strong you are now. Even though he was only a 3-star combat emperor, he was not afraid at all and struck out with his palm. Then I'll let you see how weak you are now. Zhuge Mingyang laughed sinisterly and threw a punch at Qin Feiyang. Boom! The moment the fist and palm met, Zhuge Mingyang's eyes flashed with a hint of ridicule, and said, "Don't you want me to die? I'll satisfy you now." In an instant, Zhuge Mingyang actually withdrew all of his strength, including the grayish-white battle chi. What do you want to do? Qin Feiyang was both shocked and furious, but he did not have time to withdraw his strength and sent Zhuge Mingyang flying with a palm strike. Looking at Zhuge Mingyang falling into the river, Qin Feiyang was not happy. Because, this was equivalent to Zhuge Mingyang jumping in himself. Qin Feiyang said gloomily, "Don't you know that this river is enough to destroy your soul?" "I don't know. I don't want to know either. As long as I can die in your hands, it doesn't matter." Zhuge Mingyang smiled extremely brightly. "As long as you can die in my hands, it doesn't matter." Qin Feiyang's heart trembled, and said in shock, "That demonic art of yours, is really related to me?" "That's right. Only if you kill me can I be reborn. And only if I die in your hands can my strength become stronger." Surprise, surprise. Just wait and see. The next time I revive, I will be a fake god. You'll never understand how exhilarating it is to make such a huge breakthrough. Haha, Zhuge Mingyang laughed maniacally, and with a thud, he fell into the river of corroding bones, and was instantly engulfed by the black river water. What's going on? The people on the city wall looked at each other in dismay. In this world, there was actually someone who wanted to die. Was he crazy? Willow Tree was also dumbfounded. In the past, he had only heard about it from Qin Feiyang, so he didn't feel anything. But now that he saw this scene with his own eyes, he was really shocked. Seeing Qin Feiyang standing alone on the bridge and looking at the place where Zhuge Mingyang fell into the water, Willow Tree sighed in his heart, jumped down the city wall, and rushed to Qin Feiyang's side in a few flashes. Willow Tree said telepathically, "Isn't this what you want? Why are you still so depressed now?" "I don't know either. The moment I saw him take the initiative to die, I felt a sense of frustration in my heart. Maybe it's because I didn't send him down with my own strength." Qin Feiyang thought to himself. Willow Tree said, "You're just too strict with yourself. There are some things that you don't need to take seriously, as long as you achieve your goal." Qin Feiyang was silent for a long time. Then, he asked telepathically, "Can this river really destroy one's soul?" "I can guarantee it with my life. This person doesn't understand the terror of this river of bone corrosion. If he did, I can guarantee that he wouldn't dare to do this." Willow Tree sneered inwardly. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered as he sighed inwardly, hopefully, he won't come back to life. Otherwise, I really don't know how to kill him. With that, Qin Feiyang turned around and rushed toward the evil demon's land. "Where are you going?" Willow Tree asked inwardly. "My current strength is not enough to sweep through Peach Blossom City, so I have to raise my cultivation first. Wait for me in Peach Blossom City." Qin Feiyang said without looking back, and then he disappeared from the evil demon's land. A group of people ran over and looked at Willow Tree suspiciously. "Elder Willow Tree, what's going on?" "How should I know?" Willow Tree said angrily. "Then why didn't you ask him earlier? With your strength, you could have made him stay. Why did you let him leave?" Someone asked. "Are you all blind? Didn't you see the situation earlier? That young man who fell into the river of bone corrosion has a divine ability that can even suppress my cultivation. Do you think he's an ordinary person? Don't bother me. If you have the ability, then chase him into the evil demon's land and find him yourself. Willow Tree said impatiently. When everyone heard this, they smiled embarrassedly, not daring to say anything else. Willow Tree swept his gaze over the crowd. When he saw a few people from the Heavenly Sun Empire, a cold light flashed in the depths of his eyes. He waved his hand and said, "People of the Nether Hall, follow me." With that, he flicked his sleeves and left. The 5 old men quickly followed after him. Chapter 1554. As the night deepened, no one could be seen on the plains outside Peach Blossom City. However, the city was bustling with noise and excitement. The streets were decorated with lanterns and streamers, and there was an endless stream of people. All the restaurants were full of guests. Outside the city. The river of bone erosion. A young man covered in blood walked out of the entrance of the Devil's Land and stood in front of the stone bridge, looking at Peach Blossom City. Not only was there blood on his body, even his hair and eyes were blood red, emitting a monstrous killing intent. Tonight, Peach Blossom City will no longer be peaceful. The blood-soaked young man muttered to himself, stepped onto the stone bridge, and walked towards Peach Blossom City step by step. That's right. This person was Qin Feiyang. At this moment, his cultivation had soared to the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm. But when he reached the middle of the stone bridge, Qin Feiyang suddenly stopped and looked down at the stone bridge. His eyes were filled with surprise. The confrontation between Zhuge Mingyang and the willow tree was enough to destroy mountains and rivers, but the stone bridge under his feet did not even have a crack. What was it made of? He leaned down and touched the stone bridge. A chill immediately flowed from his palm into his arm and finally swept through his entire body. But after careful observation, he found that this stone bridge was actually made of the most ordinary stone. However, in this stone bridge, he could vaguely sense the aura of divine power. Come to think of it. This stone bridge had been tempered by divine power, which was why it was so hard. After figuring out the reason, he stood up and continued to walk towards Peach Blossom City. Not long after, he walked to the city gate and scanned the city wall. The city wall was more than 10 meters tall and was completely black. Every stone brick emitted an ancient aura. When he looked at the ground under the city gate, killing intent surged in his eyes. On the ground, there was a purple gold divine dragon totem. The entire totem was embedded in the ground. Whether it was people entering or leaving the city, they had to walk over the totem. But there was no one guarding the city gate. Preposterous. Qin Feiyang's eyes were tightly clenched. Swish. Suddenly, a figure silently rushed out. It was Willow Tree. He stood beside Qin Feiyang and looked at the totem on the ground. He said in a low voice, "I just received news that Zhuge Mingyang massacred the people of the Heavenly Sun Empire and the main tower. This has alarmed the upper echelons of the 2 forces. Now, 2 false gods are preparing to come to Peach Blossom City." False god. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with killing intent as he asked, "I remember you once said that Peach Blossom City does not belong to any faction." Yes. Willow Tree nodded. Since it doesn't belong to any faction, why is there Great Qin's totem here? Qin Feiyang said. This, Willow Tree hesitated. Speak. Qin Feiyang said. Willow Tree's gaze trembled as he quickly said, "I am not the only one who understands the Heavenly Sun Empire's intention in doing this. Everyone in Peach Blossom City is well aware of it. However, no one took it to heart. After all, Great Qin is nothing in the Black Tortoise world. Moreover, there are no people from Great Qin here. To put it bluntly, what does Great Qin's totem being trampled on have to do with us? We naturally won't offend the Heavenly Sun Empire because of a totem. Therefore, everyone has an indifferent attitude." Willow Tree explained. Humph. Qin Feiyang snorted through his nose. Willow Tree couldn't help but panic and said, "Should I deal with this totem immediately?" "No need, I'll do it myself." Qin Feiyang waved his hand and a purple gold dragon chi appeared, instantly erasing the totem on the ground. He then said, "Take me directly to the Heavenly Sun Empire's stronghold." "Okay." Willow Tree nodded and opened a teleportation gate. "Change your appearance slightly." After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he stepped into the teleportation gate. Willow Tree took out an illusory form elixir and changed into the appearance of a middle-aged man. He hurriedly followed in. Qin Feiyang asked him to change his appearance for his own good. Because, once the Heavenly Sun Empire's people saw Willow Tree, they would definitely drag the Nether Hall down with them. Swish! In the next instant, Qin Feiyang descended in front of a huge building. It was a magnificent palace that was more than 100 meters tall. It was dazzling with gold and jade and had an extraordinary aura. In front of the door, there were two middle-aged men guarding. They had the cultivation of 8-star combat emperors. Above the door, there was a 5-clawed golden dragon that was more than 10 meters long. Its entire body seemed to be cast in gold and it looked very lifelike. On the ground in front of the door, there was also a purple gold divine dragon totem. Everyone who entered or exited had to step on it. Willow Tree appeared immediately. He glanced at the two middle-aged men and pointed at the 5-clawed golden dragon above. "That is the Heavenly Sun Empire's totem." "Who are you?" "This is the Heavenly Sun Empire's stronghold. Please leave immediately." The two middle-aged men glanced at Qin Feiyang and Willow Tree, raised their eyebrows and shouted. "If it's not the Heavenly Sun Empire's stronghold, I wouldn't have come." Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and waved his hand. Flaming battle chi rolled out and blasted towards the 5-clawed golden dragon totem. "Presumptuous!" the two men roared. "Get lost!" Willow Tree shouted coldly and his divine power roared out. "What? He is a false god. Enemies are coming. Be alert." The two men's expressions changed and they immediately shouted. Whoosh! Immediately. Figures kept flying out of the main hall in front of them. When the people on the nearby streets heard the news, they also rushed into the sky and stood in the sky, looking at the Heavenly Sun Empire's stronghold. "It's him. That unfamiliar young man. Didn't he enter the Devil's Land? Why is he in Peach Blossom City? Wait. Look at his cultivation. He is actually a peak 9-star combat emperor. Why do I remember that when I saw him not long ago, he was only a 6-star combat emperor?" Everyone was in an uproar. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Flaming battle chi roared in the sky and those who flew out couldn't stop it in time. With a loud bang, the 5-clawed golden dragon totem and the entire palace collapsed in an instant. "Bastard! How dare you cause trouble in my Heavenly Sun Empire's stronghold?" One figure after another rushed out of the dust and smoke, all of them bristling with anger. Willow Tree hurriedly reminded, "Young lord, you can't kill people here. Otherwise, it will cause public outrage." "Public outrage? That's just because I'm not strong enough." Qin Feiyang sneered and flew up 90,000 miles. Standing in the sky above the city, his flaming battle chi rolled and the sky seemed to have turned into a sea of fire, shining in all directions. Willow Tree smiled helplessly and could only follow. "Who are you? Why did you destroy my Heavenly Sun Empire's stronghold?" A white-haired old man looked at the destroyed palace and his eyes were filled with anger. He raised his head and stared at Qin Feiyang as he shouted in a stern voice. "I'm the one who wants your lives." Qin Feiyang said coldly. "Arrogant." The white-haired old man was furious. He looked at the crowd and said, "Everyone saw it with their own eyes. It was this person who started it first. Therefore, you can't blame my Heavenly Sun Empire for killing people in the city. You're a madman who does evil. You deserve to die." Someone shouted. The rest of the people nodded. The white-haired old man smiled coldly and waved his hand. A group of people suddenly rose into the sky. There were more than 30 people in total. Without exception, they were all peak 9-star combat emperors. Such a lineup was actually quite terrifying. However, they were still a little lacking in front of Qin Feiyang. Cripple him for this old man. The white-haired old man shouted. The 30 people immediately burst out with monstrous emperor aura and charged towards Qin Feiyang. A group of ants dares to jump in front of me. All of you, die. Qin Feiyang's eyes were like lightning. He used the phantom step and like a ghost, he swept behind one of the people. He quickly raised his arm and his 5 fingers were like an eagle's claw. He grabbed the person's head and crushed it on the spot. Screams resounded through the night sky. Fresh blood splattered on the ground. You dare to kill people in the city? Too much, too much. The people roared. Ah, another scream rang out. A middle-aged man in white was smashed by Qin Feiyang's punch. His flesh and blood splattered everywhere. This person is really terrifying when he goes crazy. Willow Tree muttered. Use battle arts and fighting souls. The white-haired old man's pupils contracted. This young man's strength was much stronger than he had expected. Upon hearing the white-haired old man's words, the rest of the people immediately retreated. They used battle arts and activated their fighting souls. Every battle art was a perfect battle art. Every fighting soul exuded an aura that could destroy the world, shaking the world. But Qin Feiyang's expression did not change. He took a step back and stood in front of Willow Tree. He raised his hand and pointed. An invisible force suddenly surged out. The void was distorted at this moment, and the divine power rolled through the sky. The 4th move of the void returning art, void returning. It's actually a divine art. The white-haired old man's expression changed and he roared, retreat. At the same time, he rushed into the sky and stood in front of the invisible force. His hands immediately formed a seal in front of his chest. Qin Feiyang was surprised. Willow Tree said, his name is Mu Dao, the main person in charge of the stronghold in Peach Blossom City. He also has a divine art. Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. No wonder this old thing dared to come and block the way. It turned out that he also had a divine art. Roar! All of a sudden, a beast's roar resounded through the sky. In front of Mu Dao, a huge ferocious beast roared and charged out. It was a giant tiger. The fur all over its body was like satin, shining with golden light. There was a king character between its eyebrows. It was like the king of all beasts had descended, and its divine power intimidated everyone. The giant tiger roared and pounced at the invisible force with a terrifying ferocious might. The 2 divine arts collided with a loud bang. A terrifying shockwave instantly surged out in all directions. Oh no, the city will be destroyed. Where's Elder Willow Tree? Right now, only he can stop this shockwave in Peach Blossom City. Get him to come out and help. Everyone roared. However, the people of the Nether Hall were also confused. This was because they did not know where Willow Tree had gone. Boom! Just as everyone was about to escape, Willow Tree, who was standing in the sky, finally made his move. He took a step forward and stood above the city. With a wave of his hand, the shockwave that was rushing towards the city instantly disappeared. Who is he? He dissolved the shockwave with a wave of his hand. Is he also a false god? Everyone was surprised. Chapter 1555. Poof! The stalemate lasted for a moment. Mu Dao spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out like a kite with a broken string. His face was pale. He looked at Qin Feiyang again. Although his face was pale, he stood in the void and did not move half a step. So strong. Mu Dao looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. They were both divine skills and both were at the peak of the 9-star combat emperor realm. How could he lose? There's no suspense. Willow Tree looked at Qin Feiyang and then at Mu Dao. He could not help but shake his head and mumble. But suddenly, Qin Feiyang's body shook violently. His face was as pale as a sheet of paper. What's going on? Willow Tree's eyes widened in disbelief. Mu Dao's face was also full of shock. Wasn't he fine before? Why did he suddenly become so weak? Could it be that he was also seriously injured and was just enduring it? Swoosh! Suddenly, Qin Feiyang turned around and flew out of the city. Stop! Seeing Qin Feiyang running away in a panic, Mu Dao was even more convinced of his thoughts. In the previous collision, this man was seriously injured. He immediately let out a stern shout and chased after Qin Feiyang with extreme speed. Weren't you very arrogant just now? Why are you running now? You want to leave after killing someone? How can it be so easy? The rest of the people from the Tianyang Empire, including the 39-star combat emperors who were at the peak of the 9-star combat emperor realm, roared angrily and chased after him. Let's go and watch the show. Seeing this, the people from the other forces followed one after another. Willow Tree naturally followed, but his eyebrows were tightly knitted together. What was the young lord doing? He did not believe that Mu Dao could seriously injure Qin Feiyang. Because he knew Qin Feiyang very well and had many tricks up his sleeve. To put it bluntly, if they were to fight seriously, Mu Dao would not be Qin Feiyang's opponent. But why did he choose to run away? Wait! Suddenly, Mu Dao, who was chasing after Qin Feiyang, seemed to have thought of something. His body shook violently, and then he slammed on the brakes and stopped in the void. He turned his head to look at the willow tree, his eyes full of vigilance. This person seemed to have come with the young man. Don't worry. Even if you kill him, I won't do anything. Willow Tree said calmly. It could be seen that Qin Feiyang didn't want him to intervene now. Otherwise, he wouldn't have turned around and left. That's good. Mu Dao heaved a sigh of relief and continued his pursuit. Night fell. The originally deathly silent plains suddenly became lively. Qin Feiyang streaked across the sky like lightning, landed on the stone bridge, and then rushed into the Devil's Land without looking back. Not long after, Mu Dao also brought a group of people and chased into the Devil Land. However, as soon as they entered the entrance, they were all stunned. Where is he? Hundreds of miles ahead, there was not a single person in sight. What they didn't know was that Qin Feiyang was right above them. Inside the castle, Qin Feiyang looked at Mu Dao and the others on the screen. His eyes were full of ridicule, and then he took out the image crystal. Ah! But suddenly, he was startled, and then he couldn't help but smile bitterly. What? The white-eyed wolf looked at him suspiciously. Qin Feiyang said, I want to send a message to Lu Xingqian, but I suddenly remembered that Lu Xingqian is dead. Then send a message to Mu Qing. I remember that you have established a contract bridge before. The white-eyed wolf said. Whoosh! Suddenly, two air-piercing sounds could be heard. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the image in the void turned to the direction of the depths of the Devil's Mountain range. His eyes suddenly flashed with a flash of light. In the image, two figures broke through the air. Who else could it be but Mu Qing and Mu Tianyang? Although Mu Tianyang was only a vague silhouette, his speed was extremely fast, shuttling through the night sky with Mu Qing. A good show is about to begin. The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth lifted. He put away the image crystal and appeared above the entrance. The people outside also noticed Mu Qing and Mu Qing. So he was waiting for Mu Tianyang. Willow Tree suddenly realized. The others didn't know and thought that they were just passing by. When they saw Qin Feiyang appear, they immediately retracted their gazes and looked at Qin Feiyang. Kid, if you have the ability, continue to run. Mu Dou smiled sinisterly and directly soared into the sky, slapping at Qin Feiyang with his palm. The others of the Tianyang Empire were afraid that Qin Feiyang would escape again, so they all soared into the sky and surrounded Qin Feiyang. Hey! Qin Feiyang secretly smiled. While fighting with Mu Dou in the void, he transmitted a message to Willow Tree, watch carefully. If anyone mentions the Tianyang Empire, kill them immediately. Yes. Willow Tree secretly responded. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. From the beginning to the end, he hadn't used his full strength. Not only did he not use his full strength, but he also deliberately made himself look very embarrassed. Lord, is that Qin Feiyang? The battle at the entrance immediately attracted Mu Qing's attention, and she asked in surprise. Bang! Bang! Boom! The battle looked very fierce. Qin Feiyang's appearance was indeed very disheveled and flustered. He can't beat them. Mu Qing stopped in the void and watched for a while, then she transmitted a message to Mu Tianyang. It seems that the Qi and Blood Pearl has really been shattered. Otherwise, he would have taken it out long ago. No. He didn't use his full strength at all. Can't you see that he has no injuries at all? This bastard is obviously playing with those people. Mu Tianyang snorted coldly. Mu Qing took a closer look and found that it was indeed so. Seeing that Mu Qing and Mu Dou were indifferent, Qin Feiyang said angrily, "How long are you going to stand there? Come and help." This time. Everyone finally began to look at Mu Qing and Mu Dou seriously. These two people were actually this person's accomplices. Wait. What was wrong with that person? Why could they only see a silhouette? Everyone looked at Mu Tianyang, their eyes full of surprise. Because they were far away before, they only noticed that two figures were flying this way, but they didn't realize that Mu Tianyang was an energy body. Seeing that Mu Qing and Mu Dou were still motionless, Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and pushed Mu Tianyang away with a palm. Then he broke out of the encirclement and ran to Mu Tianyang and Mu Dou. What do you mean? Didn't we agree to cooperate? He glared at the two of them. You still have the nerve to ask us what we mean. I haven't asked you yet. Do you know how we escaped from the hands of that golden divine leopard? It chased us for tens of thousands of miles. Do you know how dangerous it was for us at that time? If it weren't for Lord's great ability, I'm afraid we would have died under its claws now. Mu Qing said angrily. It was an accident. I thought that Willow Tree could subdue it. Who would have thought that Willow Tree was so weak that it was seriously injured by the golden leopard at the beginning? Qin Feiyang transmitted his voice and laughed embarrassedly. Mu Dou sized up Mu Qing and Mu Tianyang and suddenly shouted, "Since they are his accomplices, then kill them together." A group of people immediately charged towards the three of them. Qin Feiyang said, "Did you see that? Even if you didn't attack, they wouldn't have shown mercy. It's all your fault." Mu Qing glared at him. "Don't be like this. Do you know who they are? They are from the #1 force in Peach Blossom City. As long as we kill them, we can get a lot of treasures. Including that divine artifact." Qin Feiyang instigated. Mu Qing's eyes lit up when she heard about the divine artifact that could be compared to Chang Shui. Mu Tianyang's heart was also burning with passion. Don't dawdle, hurry up. They still have a false god on their way. If we don't get rid of them first, it will be even more troublesome later. Qin Feiyang shouted and turned around to attack Mu Dou. Mu Tianyang looked at Qin Feiyang's back and said in a low voice, "You are too weak. Go to the castle and hide first." Yes. Mu Qing nodded. Mu Tianyang waved his hand and Mu Qing immediately disappeared. Following closely, he took a step forward and charged towards an old woman. This person was also a 9-star war emperor. You're courting death. The old woman didn't put Mu Tianyang in her eyes at all. Who's courting death? Mu Tianyang let out a sinister laugh as a terrifying aura burst out from his body. What? False god. The old woman's eyes trembled as she turned around and fled. When the rest of the Tianyang Empire saw this, they also fled frantically without looking back. Mu Dao originally wanted to fight Qin Feiyang, but when he saw Mu Tianyang's strength, he immediately turned around and fled. You only know how to run now. Too late. Mu Tianyang smiled disdainfully. The energy body collapsed and turned into a jet-black iron chain, instantly entering the back of the old woman's head. Ah! Accompanied by a scream, the old woman's head exploded on the spot. But this was only the beginning. The iron chain pierced through the air like a reaper, and it entered another person's head like a bolt of lightning. Ah! A series of screams resounded through the sky. One by one, they fell down. Seeing Mu Tianyang crazily slaughtering, Qin Feiyang simply stood at the side like a bystander, watching a good show. In less than 10 breaths, more than 30 people were completely wiped out. Although Mu Dao had a divine art, he was not spared and was crushed by Mu Tianyang. What a terrifying strength! Who are they? Everyone was scared silly. A portion of the people even began to flee in a panic. Willow Tree's eyes flashed as he transmitted his voice, "Young master, the people who are fleeing are basically from the Tianyang Empire." Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and pointed at those people who were fleeing, and them, "Don't let them escape." After saying that, he took the lead to pass through the crowd and kill those people. Is it necessary to go through so much trouble to deal with these small fries? Mu Tianyang's contemptuous voice echoed in the void. The next moment, the iron chain that he had transformed into collapsed and turned into tens of thousands of strands. They were like strands of hair that covered the sky and earth as they shot out. Ah! Accompanied by a series of shrill screams, those people who were fleeing fell one after another and died. Amazing! Qin Feiyang gave a thumbs up. Humph! Mu Tianyang condensed his energy body and snorted from his nose, "I'm not like you, as long as it's an enemy, you have to quickly kill them." Yes, yes, yes. Qin Feiyang nodded repeatedly. You all deserve to die. Suddenly, an angry roar sounded, shaking the heavens and the earth. Boom! Then, a terrifying divine might rolled toward them like a giant wave. It's him. Willow Tree looked at the sky above the plain and transmitted his voice to Qin Feiyang, "Mu he is here." Qin Feiyang's eyes darkened and secretly said to Willow Tree, "Now is a critical moment, there can't be any accidents, so as to avoid too many people talking and exposing Mu He's identity. Immediately take everyone here and stay away from us." Understood. Chapter 1556. After Willow Tree left with his men, Qin Feiyang immediately looked at the sky above the plains. Although it was already late at night and the moon had not come out, he could clearly see a middle-aged man rushing towards him with a murderous aura. The middle-aged man was about 1.8 meters tall. His body was thin and he wore a long robe. His hair was mottled with white hair and he was filled with vicissitudes of life. Qin Feiyang smirked and said to Mu Tianyang, "As long as we kill him, those treasures will be ours. Let's go." Finished. Qin Feiyang took a step forward, landed on the stone bridge, and rushed towards Mu He. "In the bag?" "You're wrong. It's not ours. It's mine, Mu Tianyang's." Mu Tianyang secretly sneered and quickly chased after Qin Feiyang. As soon as he stepped on the stone bridge, he noticed something strange. However, at this moment, there was no time to investigate or ask. He followed closely beside Qin Feiyang. Very soon, the two of them met Mu He. Mu He said angrily, "Who are you people? How dare you destroy my Tian?" He was about to say that they actually dared to destroy his Tianyang Empire's stronghold. But Qin Feiyang interrupted him and shouted, "Enough nonsense. Today, not only will we destroy your territory, we will also kill you." Of course, he would not let Mu He say it. Because once Mu He revealed his identity, his plan would have to be announced as a failure. Although he had killed many people from the Tianyang Empire, they were only small fish. This Mu He in front of him was the big fish. So no matter what, he had to let Mu Tianyang kill Mu He with his own hands. Only when Mu Tianyang killed Mu He with his own hands would his painstaking plan not be in vain. Arrogant. Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, Mu He was instantly furious. "I'm arrogant, what can you do?" Qin Feiyang's eyes were overflowing with blood as he decisively used the 4 moves of the ruins of the end and charged towards Mu He. An ant trying to shake a tree. How naive and laughable. Mu He smiled disdainfully. With a wave of his hand, the power of the false god surged out and blasted towards the invisible force formed by the 4 moves of the ruins of end. Accompanied by a loud rumble, the invisible force was instantly annihilated. Qin Feiyang felt hot in his throat. He knew that things were not good. He hurriedly entered the ancient castle and immediately spat out a mouthful of dragon blood. "How is it?" Yu Huang stepped forward and asked with concern. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. "The strength of a false divinity is too strong. Without the blood chi pearl, it will be difficult to fight against it. Get ready. We might need your help later." Outside, Mu He scanned the void in bewilderment. He had actually disappeared without a trace. Could it be, suddenly? His eyes were filled with intense greed as he stared at Mu Tianyang. Mu Tianyang said, "I do have a spatial divine item, but it depends on whether you have the ability to snatch it." Mu He sized up Mu Tianyang and his eyes suddenly widened. He said in surprise, "You're actually an energy body condensed from divine sense. You couldn't have been a war god in the past, right?" Swoosh! Qin Feiyang appeared again, and the blood at the corner of his mouth had been wiped clean. He said proudly, "That's right, he's a war god, so you'd better be sensible and obediently kneel and beg for mercy." TSK, TSK, TSK. Mu He was speechless. But then, his face was full of disdain. "So what if you're a war god? It's just a few strands of divine sense now. I can destroy them with a wave of my hand." Arrogant. Mu Tianyang was furious. He took a step forward and blasted a palm at Mu He with surging divine might. Mu He smiled coldly and punched without hesitation. The power of the false god surged. Boom! With a loud sound, Mu Tianyang's energy body immediately collapsed and let out a low groan. Obviously, Mu Tianyang was severely injured by Mu He. But before Mu He could laugh, the collapsed divine sense turned into a deadly iron chain again and went straight for Mu He's lower abdomen. Humph! Mu He seemed to have expected it. He snorted and reached out his right hand at lightning speed. He grabbed the tip of the iron chain and exerted force. With a clang, the tip of the iron chain shattered and turned into nothingness. "Damn it!" Mu Tianyang roared and quickly retreated to Qin Feiyang's side. He condensed his energy body and said, "He destroyed a strand of my divine sense. I can't play with you anymore." Qin Feiyang was stunned. He turned to look at Mu Tianyang and found that Mu Tianyang's energy body was indeed thinner than before. He could still see a silhouette before. But now, he couldn't even see the silhouette clearly. It seemed that Mu Tianyang didn't lie. A strand of his divine sense was really destroyed by Mu He. In that case, Mu Tianyang only had 2 strands of his divine sense left. He became excited. If he attacked now, he might be able to take the opportunity to completely destroy Mu Tianyang. No, no. Although they were in a cooperative relationship now, with Mu Tianyang's character, he definitely wouldn't let his guard down. Once he attacked, he would definitely enter the space divine item immediately. Qin Feiyang said to himself, then you go to the space divine item first. I'll let Willow Tree and Yu Huang attack later. Once there's a chance, you immediately come out and kill him. Yu Huang. Mu Tianyang was stunned and asked, who is Yu Huang? Qin Feiyang grinned and waved his hand. Yu Huang immediately appeared in front of them out of thin air. What? A demigod-level dire beast. This bastard, when did you subdue it? Mu Tianyang was shocked. Qin Feiyang stared at Yu Huang as he smiled, old brother, whether we can obtain victory today or not, we will have to depend on you. Leave it to me. Yu Huang laughed. The color of his body quickly changed as he merged into the void and charged toward Mu He. Mu He's eyes narrowed slightly as he sneered, so you have a pseudo-deity spirit snake. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant. However, if you think you can kill me with just this pseudo-deity spirit snake, then you're dreaming. Divine sense rolled out and covered all directions. Although Yu Huang changed the color of his skin and merged into the void, Mu He's divine sense was still pervasive. Soon, he caught sight of Yu Huang's trace. He attacked forcefully and slammed his palm into the void. The void distorted. A giant tail appeared out of thin air, carrying a deafening sound of wind and thunder as it blasted toward Mu He's hand. Boom! The giant tail and the hand collided in an instant. Mu He was immediately sent flying, the skin on his arm lacerated. Yu Huang also appeared from the void. At this moment, its figure was over a few hundred zhang tall, like a magnificent mountain, standing in the sky with a ferocious aura. However, in the previous confrontation, its giant tail had been shattered by Mu He's palm and blood splattered everywhere. That's all there is to it. What's there to be arrogant about? Yu Huang laughed disdainfully. How dare you? Mu He roared. His imposing manner was like a rainbow as he rushed forward. You're the one who's being presumptuous. Yu Huang snorted coldly. Its huge body shook the void as it charged toward Mu He. The two demigod-level existences immediately engaged in a fierce battle in the sky above the plain. This Yu Huang can't be the phantom snake that you subdued in the Kirin army commander's residence, right? Mu Tianyang asked in surprise. How is that possible? The phantom snake emperor's cultivation is still far from the demigod level. Qin Feiyang said. Mu Tianyang asked, then, where did you subdue Yu Huang? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed and he said, we'll talk about this later. Now, go to the spatial divine item and secretly look for an opportunity. Once you find the opportunity, you must kill it in one blow. Mu Tianyang looked at him deeply and then disappeared. In the spatial divine item. Two demigods, Lord, Qin Feiyang's foundation is getting more and more terrifying. Mu Qin said in a deep voice. Yes. If this continues, I'm afraid that even I will have to respect him. Mu Tianyang sighed. This person was growing too fast and it was too late to stop him. Mu Qin looked at him and didn't say anything. He didn't expose him. In fact, Mu Tianyang had long been in awe of Qin Feiyang, but he didn't realize it. Perhaps, he had already realized it, but he didn't want to admit it. Boom! Crack! The battle outside was getting more and more intense. The plains had been destroyed, and it was a scene of devastation. But Peach Blossom City was still intact. Qin Feiyang looked at Peach Blossom City suspiciously, and his pupils suddenly shrank. He saw a red-haired old man standing proudly on the city wall, protecting Peach Blossom City. Willow Tree said that the main tower and the Heavenly Sun Empire both sent demigods. Could he be the main tower's demigod? Qin Feiyang murmured. The red-haired old man seemed to have sensed something and also looked away from Yu Huang and Mu He to Qin Feiyang. That pair of eyes seemed to be condensed from divine fire, extremely eye-catching in the night sky, giving people a sense of oppression from the depths of their souls. Qin Feiyang was actually afraid and didn't dare to look directly at him. However, this kind of fear was instantly suppressed by him, and he looked at the red-haired old man without dodging. The red-haired old man looked a little surprised. He seemed to be surprised that Qin Feiyang dared to look directly at him. "It's best if you don't interfere in my dispute with the Heavenly Sun Empire. Otherwise, even if you're from the main tower, I won't let you go." Qin Feiyang secretly muttered, then turned his head to look at the Devil's Land and shouted, "Come here quickly." His voice was like a bell, resounding through the sky. "Huh?" Mu He was startled. Could there be an accomplice? The red-haired old man also looked at the Devil's Land with a hint of surprise in his eyes. Who is he talking to? At the same time, in the sky above a mountain ridge in the Devil's Land, there was also a commotion. Willow Tree and others were gathered here. Except for Willow Tree, everyone else was whispering. Suddenly, Willow Tree took a step forward and soared into the sky. "Huh?" Immediately, everyone looked at Willow Tree in unison. One of them said, "Didn't you say that you won't interfere? That was just a moment ago. Now that the young master has spoken, I definitely can't sit back and do nothing." Willow Tree smiled faintly, landed on the stone bridge, and rushed to Qin Feiyang's side like lightning. "There's actually another fake god. Who the hell are you?" As soon as Mu He saw Willow Tree appear, he stared at Qin Feiyang in shock and anger and roared. Yu Huang shouted, "Cut the crap, today you will die without a doubt." Willow Tree glanced at Mu He and secretly said, "Young master, you don't have to worry. With Yu Huang's strength, killing him is no problem." "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang was taken aback and secretly asked. Willow Tree smiled and said, "Because Yu Huang not only has a divine art, but also a terrifying divine artifact." "That's right." Chapter 1557. Wait. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang was stunned. He turned to look at the Willow Tree and said, "When you captured it in the valley, you didn't take away its divine artifact?" "Yes. But later, after I was captured by you, I returned it to it in the castle. At that time, you were looking for herbs outside and didn't see it." The Willow Tree smiled bitterly. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but laugh. The Willow Tree said helplessly, "Does this count as going for wool and coming home shorn?" "Sort of." Qin Feiyang nodded and said, "However, in order to prevent any accidents, you'd better take action and let Yu Huang show his divine artifact." "Okay." The Willow Tree nodded and suddenly rushed into the sky and shouted, "Yu Huang, the young master has ordered you to take out your divine artifact and kill it quickly." "Divine artifact?" Mu He was shocked. "Human pet, don't talk to me in a commanding tone." Yu Huang glared at the Willow Tree fiercely, but he didn't argue too much. He quickly retreated to the Willow Tree and summoned his divine artifact. The Willow Tree was also furious when he heard the word human pet. But in front of the enemy, he didn't want to be unreasonable. But the others. For example, Mu He, the red-haired old man, and Mu Tianyang and Mu Qing in the divine artifact were all dumbfounded. Did they hear it wrong? The phantom snake actually called this person a human pet. What was going on? Clang! All of a sudden, an earth-shattering sound exploded between heaven and earth. The few of them trembled as they glanced at Baiming Yu Huang. Their expressions drastically changed. They saw a palm-sized snake scale floating in the void in front of Yu Huang. The snake scale was as thin as a cicada's wing and was golden in color. It released a terrifying sharpness and even the void showed signs of breaking. A snake scale? Qin Feiyang was surprised. It could be seen that this was a real snake scale. But how could a snake scale become a divine artifact? Yu Huang roared, awaken together with me. Willow Tree nodded. His quasi-divinity energy surged toward the snake scales. The snake scales immediately released a world-shaking might. One man and one beast immediately took the snake scale and fought fiercely with Mu He while reviving the snake scale. Mu He's expression clearly started to panic. He shouted at the red-haired old man, Wang Yuanshan, how long are you going to stand there? Quickly come and help. The red-haired old man glanced at Yu Huang and the willow tree before he leaped into the air. At the same time, Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. He transformed into a beam of light and shot towards Wang Yuanshan, his eyes flashing with madness. He absolutely could not allow this person to join the battle. Suddenly, Wang Yuer's voice sounded in Qin Feiyang's mind, Feiyang, did he just say the name Wang Yuanshan? Qin Feiyang was startled, and replied, that's right, what's wrong? Wang Yuer said, my grandfather is called Wang Yuanshan, he's from the main pagoda, could he be my grandfather? What? Grandfather? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yes. I heard from my grandfather that 10,000 years ago, my grandfather and the previous chief pagoda master entered the divine ruins together. At that time, your ancestor was also there. However, at that time, my grandfather's cultivation was still at the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm, and he did not go to the second level. Later on, my grandfather did not return from the divine ruins. My grandfather thought that my grandfather had already died in the divine ruins. Wang Yuer said. Qin Feiyang asked, have you seen your grandfather? How could I have seen him? But I know what my grandfather looks like, because my grandfather treasures his portrait. Wang Yuer said. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and Wang Yuer immediately appeared out of thin air, and said, quickly confirm it. Wang Yuer looked around and immediately noticed the red-haired old man, and her expression became excited. That's right. It's my grandfather. 10,000 years ago, he looked like this. After saying that, Wang Yuer flew towards the red-haired old man. Once a person reached the 9-star War Emperor realm, unless they wanted to, their appearance would not change. But looking at Wang Yuer's actions, Qin Feiyang's expression changed, and he quickly chased after her. Although Wang Yuer recognized Wang Yuanshan, he had never seen Wang Yuer before. Seeing Wang Yuer fly over, he would definitely treat her as an enemy. As expected. When Wang Yuanshan saw Wang Yuer fly over, his eyes flashed with killing intent. Qin Feiyang hurriedly transmitted his voice, Elder Wang, don't do it, she's your relative. Wang Yuanshan was stunned, and looked at Qin Feiyang with disgust, and snorted, you're a 9-star War Emperor realm peak, and you actually used such a despicable method, how shameful. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but be annoyed, and thought to himself, I didn't lie to you, she's your great-granddaughter. Great-granddaughter? Wang Yuanshan frowned and looked at Wang Yuer. Qin Feiyang transmitted his voice, she's from the main pagoda, called Wang Yuer, and her grandfather is called Wang Su. What? Wang Yuanshan's gaze trembled, and he stopped in the void, looking at Wang Yuer in shock. Swish! Wang Yuer flew in front of Wang Yuanshan, and looked at the face in front of her that she had never seen before, and tears flowed down her face. Wang Yuanshan murmured, are you really Su-er's granddaughter? Su-er was naturally Wang Su. Wang Yuanshan was Wang Yuer's grandfather, and Wang Su was Wang Yuanshan's biological son. Yes. Wang Yuer nodded repeatedly, took off a jade pendant from her neck, and handed it to Wang Yuanshan. This jade pendant was only the size of a little finger, and it was dark green, like a cluster of alchemy fire. Wang Yuanshan looked at the jade pendant, and his eyes trembled. Then, he took the jade pendant from Wang Yuer's hand, lowered his head, and looked at it carefully for a while, and his eyes became wet. Wang Yuer said, I heard from grandfather that this is our Wang family's heirloom, so I've always worn it. That's right. This is the token of love between me and your great-grandmother. Although it's just a piece of jade, it's extremely important to me. So, before entering the divine ruin, I was afraid of dying here, so I handed it to your great-grandmother and asked her to keep it well until I returned. Wang Yuanshan muttered. Grandfather. When Wang Yuer heard this, she immediately jumped into Wang Yuanshan's arms. Child, it's been hard on you. Wang Yuanshan was also very excited, and he hugged Wang Yuer tightly. It had been 10,000 years, and he finally saw his closest kin. What's going on? When the people of Peach Blossom City, Mu Qing, and Mu He saw this scene, their faces were filled with surprise and doubt. Wang Yuanshan suddenly thought of something, and he grabbed Wang Yuer's shoulder and asked, Child, where's your great-grandmother? Is she okay? Great-grandmother, she has passed away. Wang Yuer said sadly. Wang Yuanshan's body trembled, and he said, How is that possible? Although your great-grandmother's cultivation is not as good as mine, but, it's true. Back then, when she saw that you didn't return from the divine ruin, she became depressed and cried all day long. In less than 2 years, she passed away at home. Grandfather told me this himself. Wang Yuer said. Dead? Wang Yuanshan muttered to himself, as if he had collapsed, and slowly collapsed. Ah, suddenly. He lay in the air and roared in pain, I've let you down. Why did I enter the divine ruin back then? I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, did you meet your family? Looking at Wang Yuanshan's appearance, Mu He's heart skipped a beat. If that woman was really Wang Yuanshan's relative, the situation would be bad. Grandfather, don't be like this. I believe that great-grandmother doesn't want you to be so sad for her in the underworld. Wang Yuer squatted in the air and comforted him in a low voice. No, I shouldn't have entered the divine ruin back then. If I didn't enter the divine ruin, I wouldn't be trapped here until now. Your great-grandmother's death is all my fault. Wang Yuanshan shook his head frantically. Qin Feiyang sighed deeply. Looking at Wang Yuanshan's painful expression, he could imagine how deep his relationship with Wang Yuer's great-grandmother was. He walked forward, looked at Wang Yuanshan, and said, Elder Wang, as the saying goes, the dead can't be brought back to life. What you did is meaningless. Besides, being trapped here is not something you can decide. What you should do now is to cherish your family. Wang Yuanshan's gaze trembled, and he raised his head to look at Qin Feiyang and then at Wang Yuer. His emotions gradually calmed down. He got up, wiped away his tears, looked at Wang Yuer, and asked, How are your grandfather and your parents? They're all fine. And grandfather also came to the divine ruin. Wang Yuer said. Where is he? Wang Yuanshan asked. Wang Yuer shook her head and said, He's not on the first floor. Wang Yuanshan said in surprise, If he's not on the first floor, doesn't that mean he's on the second floor? Yes. Grandfather has already broken through to the semi-divinity realm. The main reason he came to the divine ruin this time was to look for you. Because grandfather didn't believe that you would die here. Speaking of this, Wang Yuer smiled and said, But I didn't expect that I would find you first. It's been hard on you. Wang Yuanshan stroked Wang Yuer's head, his old face full of doting. It's over. They're really Wang Yuanshan's family. Mu He's face was pale, and he wanted to get rid of the willow tree and Yu Huang and escape. But the willow tree and Yu Huang also saw through his intentions and didn't give him a chance at all. Wang Yuanshan glanced at Mu He and didn't have any intention of making a move. He looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, Yuer, who is he? Wang Yuer glanced at Qin Feiyang and lowered her head shyly, her cheeks blushing. Ah! Wang Yuanshan was stunned. He looked at the two of them and revealed a meaningful smile. If he still couldn't tell, he would have lived for so many years in vain. Today, you must die. Yu Huang suddenly shouted. Qin Feiyang and the others immediately looked over. They saw that the snake's scale had mostly recovered at this moment and was crazily attacking Mu He. The surrounding void kept collapsing as if it was the end of the world. No! Mu He roared in horror. Boom! The snake's scale arrived in an instant and directly blasted Mu He into the ground below. Dust and smoke billowed in all directions. He should be dead. Wang Yuer muttered. Wang Yuanshan shook his head and said, he won't die so easily. Qin Feiyang and Wang Yuer looked at Wang Yuanshan in surprise. Wang Yuanshan said, this Mu He cultivates a divine art called the God-Fiend Body. It can withstand a single attack from a divine artifact. God-Fiend Body? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Wang Yuanshan nodded and said, that's right, but this God-Fiend Body can only be activated once a day. As long as you don't let him escape, you still have a chance to kill him. He can't escape. Chapter 1558. The Plains Below. Dust and smoke billowed, covering the sky and the earth. And in a certain place, Mu He was still alive. But at this moment, his face was full of fear and he did not have the courage to continue fighting. Furthermore, a teleportation door had opened in front of him. He was preparing to escape. However, just as he stepped into the portal, he suddenly felt a pain in his lower abdomen. Ambushed? He quickly lowered his head to look at his lower abdomen and saw the tip of a blood-stained dagger on his lower abdomen. Sure enough, he was ambushed. Who was it? He suddenly burned with anger and turned his head to look. He immediately saw Mu Tianyang standing behind him. However, he could only see a vague outline. He couldn't even tell if Mu Tianyang was a man or a woman. Mu Tianyang asked in a low voice, tell me, where are you hiding your treasures? What? You guys are actually thinking about our treasures? Mu He was dumbfounded. He had really underestimated the intentions of these people. Hearing Mu Tianyang's voice, Qin Feiyang knew that he had succeeded. I said he can't run away. Qin Feiyang smiled at Wang Yuanshan and waved his hand. A gust of wind suddenly blew. The dust and smoke were quickly blown away. Mu Tianyang and Mu He appeared in front of everyone. So it's him. It seems that he has been secretly looking for an opportunity. Wang Yuanshan suddenly realized. Swish! Qin Feiyang took a step forward and landed beside Mu Tianyang. He looked at Mu He with a smile. You guys even dare to touch the treasures of my Tianyang Empire. You guys are definitely not ordinary people. Who exactly are you guys? Mu He stared at the two of them and shouted. Tianyang Empire. Mu Tianyang's gaze trembled and was extremely surprised. Qin Feiyang glanced at Mu Tianyang and the smile on his face became even brighter. Suddenly, he raised his hand and waved. A red sword aura swept out. Ah! Accompanied by a blood-curdling scream, Mu He's head was separated from his body on the spot. A bull-sized wound was bleeding profusely. Why did you kill him? Didn't you hear him mention the Heavenly Sun Empire? Mu Tianyang glared at Qin Feiyang. Dead, Lord Mu He was actually killed, meanwhile. On the city wall, everyone was dumbfounded. They found it hard to believe that a false divinity would actually die in front of them. Quickly inform the people in the imperial capital that Lord Mu He has been killed by a traitor. There were also people from the Heavenly Sun Empire in the city. They took out image crystals and quickly sent the news back to the imperial capital of the Heavenly Sun Empire. As for Qin Feiyang, he looked at the current Mu Tianyang and smiled without saying anything. I asked you a question. Didn't you hear? Mu Tianyang roared. Qin Feiyang said, I'm not deaf. Of course I heard you. Then why didn't you answer me? What do you mean? Wait. Why are you smiling so strangely? Could it be, you knew his identity long ago? Mu Tianyang was surprised. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. The Heavenly Sun Empire was considered a big force in the Black Tortoise world. Everyone knew about it and it was impossible to hide it forever. So, after Mu He's death, there was no need to hide it from Mu Tianyang. You know. Mu Tianyang was stunned and said, then you know, this Heavenly Sun Empire and my Heavenly Sun Empire, you are family. Because the people here are all your clansmen. Like the person who fell at your feet now, he is your clansman, called Mu He. Qin Feiyang smiled. What? Mu Tianyang looked dazed. His clansmen. What was going on? Why were there his clansmen here? Mu He? He had never heard of him. Actually, the people here are all from the outside world. They multiplied here and created a new civilization. Among them, there are people from your Heavenly Sun Empire. And that senior Wang Yuanshan is from the main tower and is also Wang Yu's grandfather. Qin Feiyang laughed. Bang! When Mu Tianyang heard this, it was like a bolt from the blue. In that case, he killed his own clansmen with his own hands. And there was even a false god. And Qin Feiyang knew all this and tricked him into making a move. Didn't that mean that this was a trap set by Qin Feiyang? Qin Feiyang, thinking of this. Mu Tianyang roared and turned into thousands of strands, carrying a monstrous anger, and charged toward Qin Feiyang. Presumptuous! How dare you be rude to young master, you are courting death. But then. Yu Huang and Willow Tree roared at the same time and instantly stood in front of Qin Feiyang. The power of the false god rolled out and attacked Mu Tianyang's divine sense. In fact, they had expected that when Mu Tianyang learned the truth, he would definitely go crazy and attack Qin Feiyang, so they had been secretly accumulating power. This time around, they had made their move with the determination to die. Because from Qin Feiyang's usual attitude, it could be seen that Mu Tianyang had brought him a lot of trouble. So they wanted to take this opportunity to completely remove Mu Tianyang. In this way, Qin Feiyang would have one less big trouble. However, Mu Tianyang was not stupid. In the face of two false gods, there was no chance of winning. Therefore, when he saw Willow Tree and Yu Huang rushing over, he retreated without thinking. Want to leave? No way! Yu Huang roared. The power of the false god roared in all directions and instantly condensed into a divine force boundary, trapping Mu Tianyang's divine sense. This emperor wants to see how you can escape this time. Yu Huang sneered. Qin Feiyang, you are despicable. Mu Tianyang roared in the divine force boundary. Despicable? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned, and then he chuckled. It's as you've said. The winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. Only the winner has the qualifications to laugh until the end. Now, it's very obvious that I'm superior in this game. Mu Tianyang was silent. Although his face could not be seen clearly, he must hate Qin Feiyang to the core at this moment. Qin Feiyang looked at Mu Tianyang and suddenly sighed deeply. To be honest, I am very grateful to you. Grateful to me? Mu Tianyang was suspicious. Yes. Grateful to you. Because if it weren't for the pressure you gave me, I wouldn't have grown so fast. So, I will let Yu Huang give you a quick death and avoid physical pain. After Qin Feiyang said, he looked at Yu Huang and nodded fiercely. Yu Huang laughed sinisterly and immediately acted. Boom! However, at this moment, a terrifying divine force descended. Following closely, a white-haired young man appeared out of thin air above the plane. This person looked about 25 or 26 years old. He was about 1.8 meters tall, wearing a white robe, his white hair fluttering in the wind, and there was an insufferably arrogant aura between his eyebrows. Mu Shinkong. As soon as they saw this person, everyone's face changed color and was filled with fear. Wang Yuanshan's pupils also contracted. Mu Xingkong. When Mu Tianyang heard this name, his body suddenly trembled and looked up at the white-haired young man. At this moment, if he could see his face clearly, he would find that his face was full of disbelief. Who killed Mu He? Mu Xingkong scanned the crowd, his eyes aggressive. Qin Feiyang was about to speak. But at this moment, Mu Tianyang roared, "Xingkong, it's me, don't you remember me?" At the same time, the dusty past involuntarily surfaced in his mind. In the past, when he was in charge of the Tianyang Empire, a shocking genius was born. This genius was Mu Xingkong. He still remembered. This Mu Xingkong used less than 300 years to step into the War Emperor realm, which caused quite a stir at that time. And because Mu Xingkong was extremely talented, he took special care of Mu Xingkong. No matter what Mu Xingkong wanted, as long as he could satisfy it, he would agree. Although at that time, Mu Tianyang was a noble emperor, the relationship between the two was that of a teacher and a friend. However, it was also because of Mu Xingkong's talent that his character was somewhat arrogant. That year, Mu Xingkong was only a 2-star war emperor, but he insisted on entering the divine sight. He was very persistent and couldn't be persuaded to turn back. Helpless, Mu Tianyang could only agree. But once Mu Xingkong left, he never came back. At that time, seeing that Mu Xingkong didn't come out of the divine sight, Mu Tianyang was sad for a while. But he didn't expect that Mu Xingkong was actually here. Not only was he alive and well, his strength had even reached the false god realm. Mu Xingkong looked at Mu Tianyang and frowned slightly. Why was there a familiar smell? Wait. This aura, could it be? Chapter 1559. That's me. Mu Tianyang nodded. How did this happen? Didn't I hear that you've fallen? And, why did you become like this? Mu Xingxing asked, looking very excited. Emperor? Wang Yuanshan was stunned. He looked at Mu Tianyang, and a name gradually appeared in his mind. Could he be the last emperor of the Tianyang Empire, Mu Tianyang? Facing Mu Tianyang's question, Mu Tianyang sighed deeply and said, "It's a long story." Mu Xingxing didn't ask any more questions. He pointed to Qin Feiyang, Willow Tree, and Yu Huang and asked, "Who are they?" Mu Tianyang suddenly pointed to Qin Feiyang and said, "He's the descendant of Qin Batian, Qin Feiyang." What? There was another uproar in the crowd. Even Wang Yuanshan was astounded. This child was the descendant of Emperor Qin. Wang Yuanshan asked, is this true? Wang Yu nodded. Gasp. Wang Yuanshan took a deep breath. He didn't expect this child to have such a powerful background. No wonder this kid started to scheme against the people of the Tianyang Empire. Mu Xingxing also looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. Mu Tianyang said again, "This child's talent is extraordinary. He's even more outstanding than you were back then. He even revived the purple gold dragon blood and obtained the inheritance of Qin Batian." What? Purple gold dragon blood? The inheritance of Emperor Qin. Once again, everyone was deeply shocked. They looked at Qin Feiyang as if they were looking at a monster, full of disbelief. Boom! Suddenly, a monstrous murderous intent rushed out of Mu Xingxing's body. He said word by word, "Since he's the descendant of Qin Batian, then all the more we can't let him walk out of here alive." After saying that, he swooped down and killed Qin Feiyang. No! Mu Tianyang hurriedly shouted. But Mu Xingxing turned a deaf ear to him, his eyes flashing with a shocking light. "With this emperor here, how dare you act so presumptuously?" Yu Huang was furious. He raised his giant tail and slammed it towards Mu Xingkong. The void twisted crazily as if it was about to split open. Willow Tree also rose into the air to meet Mu Xingkong. But suddenly, Mu Xingxing spun in the air and threw a punch at the barrier, his pseudo-god force surging out. Crack! The barrier shattered on the spot. Oh no! Willow Tree's expression changed. Mu Xingxing didn't want to kill Qin Feiyang, he just wanted to draw them away and save Mu Tianyang. Mu Xingxing shouted, "Lord Monarch, follow me." Finished speaking. Mu Xingxing immediately turned around, turned into a stream of light, and flew towards a mountain range next to Peach Blossom City. Mu Tianyang hastily chased after him. He didn't even turn his head as he roared, "Qin Feiyang, I admit defeat today. However, there's still a long way to go in the future. Sooner or later, I'll make you pay back double." Chase! Yu Huang shouted. Don't chase. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. Yu Huang stopped in the void and looked down at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. With their speed, you may not be able to catch up. Moreover, even if you can catch up, I'm afraid you can't keep them. Don't waste time. Qin Feiyang said. Yu Huang raised his eyebrows, his body quickly shrank, and landed in front of Qin Feiyang, asking, "Don't you think it's a pity to miss such a good opportunity?" Pity? Qin Feiyang was taken aback, shook his head and said, "I don't think it's a pity, on the contrary, I'm quite happy." Happy? Is there something wrong with your head? Yu Huang said. Willow Tree also looked at him strangely. Yes. Very happy. Because in this way, I have a chance to end his life with my own hands. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Ah. The man and the beast were stunned. Just because of this reason. It really made them speechless. Descendant of Emperor Qin, Qin Feiyang, nice to meet you. At this time, Wang Yuanshan came up and said with a smile. Hello, senior. Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and saluted. Wang Yuanshan laughed and looked at Qin Feiyang, his old eyes full of joy. Yu Huang glanced at Wang Yuanshan, looked at Qin Feiyang and Willow Tree, and said suspiciously, "What is this old man so happy about?" Qin Feiyang was also full of doubts. You don't know. All of you are really blockheads. Willow Tree secretly despised Qin Feiyang and Yu Huang, and said with a voice transmission, "Wang Yuanshan is so happy, it must be because of Wang Yu." What does this have to do with Wang Yu? Yu Huang was even more puzzled. Of course it has something to do with it. Young master is the person Wang Yu likes, so in Wang Yuanshan's opinion, Qin Feiyang is the son-in-law of his Wang family. Willow Tree said. Son-in-law. Yu Huang's lips twitched. Things weren't set in stone yet. Besides, Qin Feiyang didn't have such thoughts about Wang Yu at all. Qin Feiyang was also a little helpless, and said with a voice transmission, "Willow Tree, retreat first." Retreat? Willow Tree was suspicious. Qin Feiyang said secretly, "Go back to Peach Blossom City first, I will contact you if there is anything." All right. Willow Tree nodded. Then, the two took out image crystals and established a contract bridge. Willow Tree opened a teleportation door and walked in without looking back. Wang Yuanshan asked, "Feiyang, where is he going?" He called Qin Feiyang so intimately, as if he treated him as family. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "I asked him to deal with a private matter." Since it was a private matter, he definitely couldn't get to the bottom of it. Wang Yuanshan said with a smile, "Follow this old man into the city." Enter the city. Qin Feiyang looked at Peach Blossom City with a hesitant expression. Wang Yuanshan asked, "Are you worried about the people of the Heavenly Sun Empire?" Without waiting for Qin Feiyang to answer, Wang Yuanshan said with a smile, "There's no need to worry. With my main tower helping you, even if they come looking for you, they won't dare to do anything to you." How passionate. Looks like Wang Yu won't be able to run away as a daughter-in-law. Yu Huang laughed secretly. Shut your mouth. Qin Feiyang glared at Yu Huang. Then, he looked at Wang Yuanshan and said with a smile, deference is no substitute for obedience. Senior, please. Good, 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 Wang Yuanshan laughed loudly and led Wang Yu back to Peach Blossom City. I hope it won't be too troublesome. Qin Feiyang muttered and chased after the two. Not necessarily. Look at how much Wang Yuanshan likes Wang Yu, her. For the sake of Wang Yu's lifelong happiness, he might force you to marry her. Yu Huang smiled evilly. Qin Feiyang said helplessly, can't you talk less? This monarch said that to let you be mentally prepared in advance. To think that you find this monarch long-winded. You really don't know how to appreciate good intentions. If you are really unwilling, just say the word, and this monarch will immediately bring you away. Yu Huang sent a voice transmission in dissatisfaction. Forget it. Do you think I don't know that you can't wait to see me in trouble, especially this kind of big trouble? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. Hee hee. We haven't been together for long, yet you know this monarch so well. You can't be a roundworm in this monarch's stomach, right? Yu Huang laughed sinisterly. Qin Feiyang rubbed his forehead. Why did he meet another unreliable guy? During the conversation, Qin Feiyang followed behind Wang Yuanshan and entered Peach Blossom City. The city walls and both sides of the streets were filled with people, curiously sizing up Qin Feiyang. The descendant of the Qin Emperor. The second human in the world to possess the purple gold dragon blood. Amazing. This time, the Black Tortoise world will probably be lively. That's right. The Qin Emperor destroyed the Heavenly Sun Empire. The people of the Heavenly Sun Empire hate the people of the Great Qin to the bone. Now that the descendant of the Qin Emperor has entered the Black Tortoise world, the people of the Heavenly Sun Empire will definitely think of ways to get rid of him. Everyone discussed in low voices. Wang Yuanshan raised his eyebrows and said loudly, everyone disperse, there's nothing to see. Everyone here was a little afraid of Wang Yuanshan. Therefore, when they heard Wang Yuanshan speak, everyone left in groups of 2s and 3s. However, they kept discussing. Moreover. Chapter 1560. Elder Lu. Suddenly. The crowd was in an uproar. Willow Tree slowly walked out of the crowd. At this moment, he had regained his true appearance. He stood tall and had a gentle smile on his face, giving off an inexplicable sense of intimacy. However, no one knew that he was the one who killed Mu He with Yu Huang. Elder, where did you go? Did you know? Mu He of the Heavenly Sun Empire was killed by Qin Feiyang. This Qin Feiyang is the descendant of the Qin Emperor. A group of people from the Nether Hall immediately ran to Willow Tree and whispered. The descendant of the Qin Emperor. Willow Tree pretended to be surprised and walked to Qin Feiyang. He cupped his hands and smiled, I'm Willow Tree from the Nether Hall. Greetings, little brother Qin. This human pet is good at acting. Yu Huang mumbled. Qin Feiyang smiled and returned the greeting to Willow Tree. Willow Tree pretended not to know and asked, little brother, I heard that you're the descendant of the Qin Emperor. Qin Feiyang nodded. I didn't expect the descendant of the Qin Emperor to appear here. Nice to meet you. Little brother, would you give me the honor of coming to the Nether Hall? Willow Tree smiled. Wang Yuanshan raised his eyebrows and said, Willow Tree, what do you mean? Do you think I don't exist? Willow Tree laughed and said, everyone in the Black Tortoise world knows about Elder Wang's hot temper. How would I dare to ignore your existence? Stop being sarcastic. Wang Yuanshan snorted coldly. I wouldn't dare. After all, you have the support of the Vanga League. My Nether Hall can't afford to offend you. Willow Tree said with a smile, but anyone who wasn't an idiot could tell that he was mocking Wang Yuanshan. How could Wang Yuanshan not understand? His eyes flickered with cold light. Qin Feiyang glanced at the two of them. The smell of gunpowder was too strong. Willow Tree suddenly laughed out loud. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Little brother, the future is long. Let's meet again if there's a chance." After saying that, then, he led the Nether Pavilion's people away. Of course, he didn't really want to invite Qin Feiyang. It was just for show. After Willow Tree left, Wang Yuanshan finally withdrew his gaze. Looking at Qin Feiyang and Wang Yuer, he regained his amiable look and said with a smile, "Let's go." Wang Yuer followed him obediently. Yu Huang glanced at Wang Yuanshan's back view and secretly sighed, "Looks like there are quite a few disputes here too." Qin Feiyang nodded. Putting everything else aside, just the main tower and the Nether Pavilion had an irreconcilable enmity between them. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he secretly muttered a few words to Yu Huang. Yu Huang's eyes lit up, and he immediately merged into the night sky and disappeared without a trace. In a magnificent hall, Wang Yuanshan sat on the main seat, and Wang Yuer sat beside him. As for Qin Feiyang, he sat opposite Wang Yuanshan. Two young women dressed as maids walked in with a teapot and brewed tea for the three of them one by one. Then, they silently retreated to the side. However, whether it was the two maids or the guards outside, they would occasionally glance at Qin Feiyang, their eyes filled with curiosity. Wang Yuanshan picked up the teacup and took a sip. He looked at Qin Feiyang very seriously and said, "Feiyang, in the future, you'd better stay away from that willow tree." Qin Feiyang was drinking tea. When he heard this, he was slightly stunned and asked suspiciously, "Senior, why do you say that? This willow tree is an elder of the Nether Pavilion, and the Nether Pavilion is even older than our main tower. Its strength is extremely terrifying. As for this willow tree, although he seems polite, he's actually a sanctimonious villain." Wang Yuanshan said. Wang Yuer smiled and said, "Grandfather, you're thinking too much. In fact, we already know what kind of person Willow Tree is because it was Willow Tree who brought us here. The person who killed Mu He with Yu Huang was also Willow Tree in disguise." Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. He never expected that Wang Yuer would actually tell Wang Yuanshan about this matter. It happened too suddenly, and he couldn't stop it in time. "What? Willow Tree brought you here?" Wang Yuanshan was surprised. This, Qin Feiyang glanced at Wang Yuer and nodded at Wang Yuanshan. That's right. Since he had already exposed it, there was nothing to hide. "How do you know Willow Tree? Why did he help you kill Mu He?" Wang Yuanshan was suspicious. "This is a long story. Didn't Miss Yuer want to say it? You can ask her when you have time." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Wang Yuanshan looked at Wang Yuer. When Wang Yuer heard Qin Feiyang's words, her delicate body stiffened slightly. This was because she realized that whether it was Qin Feiyang's expression or the way he spoke earlier, they were somewhat different from before. There seemed to be a trace of coldness. "Senior Wang, Miss Yuer knows what you want to know. You can ask her if you have any questions. I still have something to deal with, so I won't disturb you. When I have time in the future, I'll come and visit again." Qin Feiyang suddenly stood up and smiled. This, Wang Yuanshan was stunned. He had not even warmed his seat, why was he leaving already? A trace of panic appeared on Wang Yuer's face. "Goodbye." Qin Feiyang cupped his hands at Wang Yuanshan and smiled at Wang Yuer. Then, he turned and walked out of the hall without looking back. Wang Yuanshan was completely dumbfounded. What was going on? Seeing this, Wang Yuer hurriedly got up and chased after him. She pulled Qin Feiyang's arm and asked, "Where are you going?" "I don't know." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "If you don't know, why are you leaving? Is it because I told you about Willow Tree?" Wang Yuer said anxiously. Qin Feiyang said, since you know it in your heart, why did you still say it? Indeed, this is the case. Wang Yuer muttered. Do you know why I changed Willow Tree's appearance? I don't want others to know that he has already followed me. But you didn't even ask me and directly told your grandfather. Do you know what the people of the Nether Hall will do to Willow Tree if the fact that he has followed me is exposed? They will definitely kill him. Qin Feiyang said, trying his best to control his emotions so that his tone did not sound so aggressive. Wang Yuer said, what's wrong with telling my grandfather? If your grandfather is not from the main tower, it won't be a problem. But the problem is that your grandfather is from the main tower, and his status is not low. The main tower and the Nether Hall have always been at odds. Can you be sure that he won't use this matter to make a big fuss? Qin Feiyang said. Wang Yuer's face turned slightly pale. I can understand. You didn't hide anything because you trust your grandfather. But you have to understand me. One must always be on guard against others. I, Qin Feiyang, have never trusted anyone easily, let alone someone I just met. Stay here and have a good chat with your grandfather. When I leave, I will come and pick you up. If you don't want to leave, it's best to send me a message in advance and let me know. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he opened a teleportation door and walked in. Am I more important, or is Willow Tree more important? Are you going to abandon me for Willow Tree? Wang Yuer said angrily. I can't answer this question. Qin Feiyang's footsteps paused slightly, then he said without looking back and quickly disappeared. Wang Yuer was burning with anxiety and was about to chase after him. But at this moment, Wang Yuanshan walked out and looked at the teleportation door. He said in surprise, your little boyfriend really left. Wang Yuer glanced at Wang Yuanshan and then at the disappearing teleportation door. She turned around and ran into the hall, lying on the table and crying bitterly. Yuer, what's wrong? Did he bully you? Tell grandfather will go and settle the score with him. Wang Yuanshan hurried in and said anxiously. Wang Yuer said, it's none of your business. Let me be alone for a while. Wang Yuanshan's face stiffened. He turned to look at the disappearing teleportation door and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Although he didn't know what was going on, he vaguely heard Wang Yuer mention Willow Tree when he was inside. It seemed that Yuer had told him about the Willow Tree, which made Qin Feiyang angry. How dare you bully my descendant? Even if you are the descendant of Emperor Qin, I won't let you go. He muttered to himself, walked out of the hall and shouted, men. Whoosh! A middle-aged man cut through the night sky and landed in front of Wang Yuanshan like lightning. He bowed and said, greetings, sir. This man was about 1.9 meters tall and had a finger-long scar on the corner of his mouth. He looked a little scary. Wang Yuanshan whispered a few words in the middle-aged man's ear. Yes, sir. After listening, the middle-aged man responded respectfully. He turned around and soared into the sky, disappearing into the night sky. Late at night, at the stronghold of the Tianyang Empire, a blood-haired young man appeared out of thin air. It was Qin Feiyang. The stronghold of the Tianyang Empire had been reduced to ruins. There was no one around. It was dead silent. Qin Feiyang walked into the ruins alone and looked around as if he was waiting for something. Whoosh! Soon, a ray of light shot out from the ground somewhere in the ruins. Who else could it be but Yu Huang? However, when it saw Qin Feiyang, it was slightly stunned. It flew to Qin Feiyang and asked suspiciously, didn't you go to the stronghold of the main tower with Wang Yuer? Why are you here? Where is Wang Yuer? Qin Feiyang smiled and said, I'm worried about you. That's why I came to take a look. Yu Huang rolled his eyes and said, stop talking nonsense. Did something happen? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded and said, Wang Yuer told Wang Yuanshan that Willow Tree is following us. To be honest, I'm a little angry that she acted on her own accord. What? Is she stupid? Doesn't she know about the conflict between the main tower and the nether hall? She actually told Wang Yuanshan. Isn't this pushing Willow Tree into a fire pit? You have to tell Willow Tree about this as soon as possible and let him be prepared. Otherwise, he will be in danger when this matter is leaked. Yu Huang raised his eyebrows and said. I think so too. Qin Feiyang nodded and sighed. Of course, I hope that Wang Yuanshan is not that kind of person. Come on. We've only met once. Do you know what kind of person he is? It's hard to know what's in a person's heart. It's better to be safe. Besides, it wasn't easy to subdue such a pet. I don't want him to die young. Chapter 1561. Don't always call me a pet. We've already fought side by side for so long. No matter how deep the grudge is, it's time to end it and leave some face for others. Qin Feiyang said. You're really magnanimous. But I'm sorry, this emperor is a very vengeful person. Yu Huang coldly snorted. Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly, and asked, any gains? No. Yu Huang shook his head, and said, the treasures here were probably moved away by Mu He in advance. Moved? Don't tease me. Before we killed Mu He didn't receive any news at all. How could he have moved the treasures here in advance? Hurry up and take it out. We'll enjoy it together and endure it together. Qin Feiyang said. Not doing it. This emperor has contributed the most to killing Mu He this time. All the treasures here should belong to this emperor. Yu Huang said. Qin Feiyang laughed, so, there are indeed treasures here. Holy shit. You're actually trying to trick this emperor. Brat, you're not honest. Yu Huang said angrily. Only then did he react. Qin Feiyang laughed, and said, you can take all of it. Just treat it as your reward. What do you mean? Reward? This is what this emperor obtained with his own ability. How can it be called a reward? Let me tell you, if you want to say it like that, this emperor doesn't want it. You want to give me a reward? Alright, this emperor doesn't want anything else. I only want the potential pill. Do as you see fit. Yu Huang took out 5 cosmos bag from the Qi Sea and threw them to Qin Feiyang like trash, and said, these are all the treasures here, keep them well. Qin Feiyang grabbed the cosmos bag and lowered his head to check. If he didn't look, he wouldn't know. These 5 cosmos bag were actually all medicinal herbs. Moreover, they were basically all 10,000 years old. So many, where did you find them? Qin Feiyang asked in shock. Below. Yu Huang pointed to the ground and said, there is a treasure trove below, it is very hidden, this emperor found it with great difficulty. Not bad, not bad. Qin Feiyang laughed, his face full of pride. Yu Huang suspiciously looked at Qin Feiyang and said, brat, why do I feel like I've been schemed by you again? No. Qin Feiyang hurriedly waved his hand, revealing an innocent expression. Wrong. This emperor. The rewards, by. Yu Huang cursed. Qin Feiyang laughed, don't worry, before I leave, I will give you the potential pill. Yu Huang's eyes lit up, and he threatened, you better keep your word, otherwise, don't blame this emperor for being impolite to you. Don't worry, don't worry. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. Yu Huang said, wait, I heard from Fatso that you seem to have an ancient book called the Pill Scripture. That's right. Qin Feiyang nodded. Yu Huang asked, then is there a pill formula for the spirit congealing pill? Yes. Qin Feiyang said. That's good. Hurry up and refine some spirit congealing pills for this emperor. As long as there are enough spirit congealing pills, coupled with your ancient castle, the time is different from the outside. This emperor is confident that I can step into the war god realm within 1,000 years. Yu Huang said excitedly. N. Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked, to step into the war god realm, don't you need to comprehend the profound meaning of becoming a god? No, no, no. This profound meaning was comprehended before breaking through to the false god realm. In other words, when breaking through to the false god realm, you have already thoroughly comprehended the profound meaning of becoming a god. Next, you just need to condense your divine soul. However, condensing the divine soul is not only very difficult, but also a very long process. Without a great fortune or a heaven-defying pill, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years are common. Yu Huang said. So difficult? Qin Feiyang was shocked. That's right. There are many creatures in the world that are trapped in the false god realm because they can't condense their divine soul. But if there are a lot of spirit congealing pills, it's different. Spirit congealing pills can help creatures quickly condense their divine soul. Once the divine soul appears, they can naturally step into the war god realm. Yu Huang said. I see. Qin Feiyang nodded in understanding. After that, he stared at Yu Huang with a strange look on his face. Why are you looking at me like that? Yu Huang was suspicious. Qin Feiyang said, you just said that it will take 1,000 years to condense a divine soul after refining a lot of spirit congealing pills. Yes. Yu Huang nodded. Qin Feiyang's face twitched and he said speechlessly, 1,000 years is so long. Why are you so excited? Damn. 1,000 years is long. Then what about some people who can't condense a divine soul after tens of thousands of years? Kid, don't be arrogant. Condensing a divine soul is not as easy as you think. If it's really that easy, wouldn't there be as many war gods in the world today? Let me tell you, creatures who can condense a divine soul within 1,000 years are rare geniuses that only appear once in a million years. Yu Huang snorted. Qin Feiyang said, from what you said, you are one of these geniuses. Do you really want to go against me? What I mean is, according to the time in your castle, I can step into the war god realm within 1,000 years. Then if it's the time outside, it will definitely take longer. Yu Huang said angrily. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. I won't tease you anymore. It's definitely not a problem to refine the spirit congealing pills, but you have to have medicinal herbs. Yu Huang pointed to the 5 qiankuan bags and said, I don't believe that I can't get one set with so many medicinal herbs. I have to count them out to know. I have a lot of spiritual infant fruits, but the other medicinal herbs, to be honest, I haven't cared about these things since Dan Wangkai followed me. So I don't know a lot of medicinal herbs. How about this? I'll give these qiankuan bags to Dan Wangkai first and let him sort them out. Let's see how many sets he can gather. Qin Feiyang said. Yu Huang said, it's all a small matter. I can go to the castle to help tidy it up. Is there a need to be so anxious? Qin Feiyang was helpless. Nonsense, how can this matter not be urgent? Yu Huang rolled his eyes at him. Wait. Even if you can refine the spirit congealing pills, you can't break through to the war god realm in the Black Tortoise world. Qin Feiyang said. Why can't I? Yu Huang was suspicious. Qin Feiyang said, didn't the willow tree say that the Black Tortoise world also has rules and restrictions that can only break through to the false god realm? Then it's fine if we're not in the Black Tortoise world. Anyway, we'll leave the Black Tortoise world sooner or later. Yu Huang said. Qin Feiyang said in surprise, can you break through to the war god realm outside? For outsiders like you, it's definitely not possible. But we can. However, I've also heard that after beasts like us break through to the war god realm, we'll be taken away by the guardians of the divine ruins. Yu Huang said. Then that's it. When you break through to the war god realm and the guardians of the divine ruins come to take you away, do you dare to resist? Qin Feiyang was speechless. Why wouldn't I dare to resist? If you dare to beat it up, I dare to do the same. Yu Huang coldly snorted. Qin Feiyang said, you say it as if it's true. When that giant python arrives, you'll be as obedient as a little lamb. Are you looking down on me? Yu Huang's embarrassment turned into anger. It was indeed afraid of the guardians of the divine ruins, but don't say it so directly. I'm not looking down on you, it's the truth. Not to mention you, even I have to take a detour when I see it. Qin Feiyang sighed. In the past, with the Qi and Blood Pearl, he could still fight, but now that the Qi and Blood Pearl was shattered, he was no longer able to shake the giant python's power. Yu Huang raised his eyebrows and said, you're refusing again and again, do you not want to give me the spirit congealing pill? Qin Feiyang said, do you want to hear the truth? Nonsense. Yu Huang angrily waited for him. The herbs for the spirit congealing pill are very difficult to find. Especially the spiritual infant fruit. I'm lucky to find so many. If I'm unlucky, I'm afraid I won't be able to find even one in my life. And you also know that Fatso and the white-eyed wolf are all loyal to me, so I must consider them first. As the saying goes, there are too many monks and too little gruel. I hope you can understand my difficulties. Qin Feiyang sighed. Hypocrite. Don't you just want me to follow you and work for you? Yu Huang rolled his eyes at him. Qin Feiyang smiled embarrassedly. He was actually seen through, and it was a little awkward. Yu Huang lowered his head, his eyes flickering. Suddenly, it seemed to have made a decision as it looked at Qin Feiyang and said, how about this, let me refine the spiritual infant fruit first, and I'll take you to the capital of the Tianyang Empire to loot their treasury. Loot their treasury. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. This guy is too crazy. The people of the Tianyang Empire have been living in the Black Tortoise world for so many years. Coupled with the restrictions of the rules, they can't break through to the war god realm. Therefore, the herbs for the spirit congealing pill are meaningless to them. I'm afraid it's not even as good as a battle chi pill. So I believe that there must be a lot of them in their treasury. Yu Huang said. Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. He actually didn't think of this. The Black Tortoise world had restrictions. Not only the people of the Tianyang Empire, but even the people of the Main Tower, the Nether Hall, the Vanga League, and the Fengtian Palace couldn't break through to the War God realm. If they couldn't break through to the War God realm, then as Yu Huang said, the spirit congealing pill was worthless. It wasn't just the Tianyang Empire. The other forces must have a lot of herbs for the spirit congealing pill. Wasn't this a good opportunity? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. He stared at Yu Huang, the strength of the Heavenly Sun Empire is so strong. Are you confident? Yu Huang said, don't worry, if I can't find enough herbs for you, I'll, what? Qin Feiyang looked at it expectantly. Yu Huang clenched its teeth and said, I'll give myself to you. Pfft. Qin Feiyang burst out laughing. A ferocious beast actually dared to say that it wanted to repay him with its body. Why did it sound so weird? Fortunately, there was no one around. Otherwise, if they heard Yu Huang's words, they would definitely look at him strangely. Chapter 1562. Of course. Yu Huang's words were not what Qin Feiyang had imagined. What he meant was that if he could not find enough herbs, he would follow him in the future. This was a good thing for Qin Feiyang. At the very least, it meant that Yu Huang had a good impression of him now. He did not stay any longer. After sending Yu Huang and a few universe bags to the ancient castle, Qin Feiyang changed his appearance slightly and asked someone to find out where the Nether Hall's stronghold was. Then, he went to look for Willow Tree. In a certain ancient hall, Willow Tree sat upright on a chair. A man and a woman stood respectfully below him. Both of them looked middle-aged and had shrewd eyes. They were the people in charge of the Nether Hall here. Elder, Peach Blossom City has always had rules. No one can destroy the buildings in the city. However, this Qin Feiyang not only killed people in Peach Blossom City but also destroyed a large number of buildings. Why didn't you even say a word of blame? The two of them frowned. Willow Tree pursed his lips. Right now, his life was still in Qin Feiyang's hands. How dare he be impudent? After pondering for a while, Willow Tree said something very cruel: rules have always been for the weak. When the two of them heard that, they immediately fell silent. That's right. Only the weak would follow the rules. As for the strong, who would care so much? The rules were useless in front of them. If they were unhappy, they would break them. What could they do? They could only watch helplessly. At this moment, a guard ran into the hall and said respectfully, "Greetings, Elder." "What's the matter?" Willow Tree asked. The guard said, "There's someone outside who claims to be your old friend and wants to see you." Ridiculous. How can there be an old friend of Elder Willow Tree in Peach Blossom City? He must be here to curry favor. Just chase him away. The two people in charge shouted. The guard hesitated as he looked at Willow Tree. "Old friend," Lumu pondered and didn't say anything. "Hurry up and go. We've seen a lot of people like this who try to curry favor with others." The man and woman sneered. Yes. Hearing the two of them speak again, the guard respectfully responded and turned to leave. At this moment, Willow Tree seemed to have thought of something. He suddenly looked at the guard and said, "Let him in." The man and woman looked at the Willow Tree in surprise. Was he really Elder Lu's friend? Yes. The guard was stunned for a moment before he hurriedly ran out. A short while later, the guard led a middle-aged man into the main hall. How unfamiliar. Who? The man and woman sized up the middle-aged man, their eyes full of suspicion. Willow Tree was also sizing up the burly man. Suddenly, he waved his hand and said, "All of you, back down." Yes. The man and woman and the guard bowed respectfully, then turned and left the hall. Willow Tree said, "Close the door while you're at it." The guard turned around and closed the door. At this moment, Willow Tree got up, looked at the middle-aged man, and asked, "You are?" The middle-aged man took out a face-restoring pill and threw it into his mouth. Soon, he turned into a young man in white. Who else could it be but Qin Feiyang? "It's really you." Willow Tree smiled bitterly and asked, "Didn't you go to the main tower's stronghold? Why are you here so soon?" "It's a long story. I came to find you because there's an emergency," Qin Feiyang said with a sullen face. "What emergency?" Seeing Qin Feiyang's serious face, Willow Tree also became nervous. Qin Feiyang said, told Wang Yuanshan that you're following me." "What?" Willow Tree's eyes trembled, and he said angrily, "What is she doing? Is she trying to kill me?" "She didn't mean that. After all, Wang Yuanshan is her grandfather. In her opinion, it's fine to tell Wang Yuanshan." Qin Feiyang said. "What do you mean it's fine? Do you really know Wang Yuanshan? He's also a ruthless person, and he's always had a problem with the Nether Hall. Also, he's very protective. When you came out just now, did you have a falling out with Wang Yu? Willow Tree asked. "What do you mean?" "I just said a few words to her," Qin Feiyang said. Willow Tree said, "Where was Wang Yuanshan at that time?" "In the main hall inside. Wang Yu and I were outside the door. At that time, I spoke quite softly." "But," at this point, Qin Feiyang frowned. "But what?" Willow Tree asked. Qin Feiyang said, but in the end, Wang Yu shouted a few words. Wang Yuanshan should have heard it. That's not good. That damned old man is famous in the Black Tortoise world for being protective. He'll definitely cause trouble for you because of Wang Yu. When you went to the main tower's stronghold, I should have warned you. Willow Tree looked a little annoyed. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said with a faint smile, "It's okay. I'm not even afraid of the fire dragon and the giant python, let alone Wang Yuanshan. If he really dares to cause trouble for me, I'll make him pay the price." You're a typical example of a newborn calf not being afraid of a tiger. Willow Tree shook his head. Boom! Before he finished speaking. Suddenly, a terrifying aura descended above the main hall. Willow Tree was shocked and hurriedly turned to look at Qin Feiyang. He said in a low voice, "Quickly hide. This is the aura of the Nether Hall's Grand Elder." Grand Elder? Why is he here? Could it be that Wang Yuanshan has already leaked the news? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Willow Tree's heart sank. He said, "If that's the case, then the situation is not good. You go to the castle first, I'll act according to the situation." "Okay. I'll support you in the dark at any time." After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he instantly disappeared without a trace. Bang! In the next moment, the door of the main hall was kicked open. An old man with white hair slowly walked into the main hall with a crimson gold walking stick. His figure was hunched and his face was old. It seemed like he already had one foot in the coffin, but his aura was extremely strong. That cold and indifferent expression gave people a sense of oppression without being angry. Willow Tree hurriedly stepped forward and bowed, "Greetings, Grand Elder." At this moment, the two people in charge ran in and knelt on one knee. They said respectfully, "Greetings, Grand Elder." The Grand Elder nodded and scanned the main hall. He looked at Willow Tree and asked, "Is there no one else here?" Willow Tree's heart skipped a beat. He said, "An old friend came to visit earlier, but he already left." With the two people in charge here, there was no way to hide it. Therefore, he might as well admit it. The Grand Elder said meaningfully, "I didn't expect you to have an old friend in Peach Blossom City." Willow Tree smiled embarrassedly. The Grand Elder said, "Come back to the main tower with this old man. The Tower Master wants to see you." Willow Tree asked in surprise, "What important matter is it that requires you to come and pick me up personally?" The Grand Elder said, "It's very important. It concerns the future of my Nether Hall." Willow Tree's eyes immediately flickered. If there really was something, the Tower Master could just send him a message. There was no need for the Grand Elder to come personally. It was obvious. The Tower Master was afraid that he would slip away. It seemed that Wang Yuanshan had really leaked the news. The Grand Elder said impatiently, "What are you waiting for? Let's go." Willow Tree ignored the Grand Elder and said, "If the Tower Master wants to see me, why didn't he send me a message? Why did he send you here? Why are you asking so much? Could it be that you have a guilty conscience?" The Grand Elder asked with a hoarse laugh. Willow Tree frowned and said, "Grand Elder, let's not beat around the bush. Just be straightforward. Why are you here?" The Grand Elder said, "You should know very well why this old man is here." "I don't understand." Willow Tree shook his head. Seeing the two's expressions and their conversation, the two people in charge exchanged glances. "What is going on? Why does it feel like the atmosphere is off?" "You don't understand." "All right, this old man will explain it to you, then." "Not long ago, the Tower Master received a secret report saying that you betrayed my Nether Hall and sought refuge with the great Qin Emperor's descendant, Qin Feiyang. Hence, the Tower Master ordered this old man to bring you back for questioning. If you don't have a guilty conscience, then obediently return with this old man. But if you resist, then it proves that such a thing is true," said the Grand Elder, and his eyes flickered with cold light. "Damn it!" Willow Tree was extremely furious. "Grand Elder, what's going on? How could Elder Willow Tree betray our nether hall? There's definitely something wrong here. Perhaps someone is intentionally slandering Elder Willow Tree and trying to make us fight amongst ourselves," said the two people in charge. The Grand Elder glanced at them and said indifferently, "Do you have the right to speak here? Shut up for this old man." Even though his voice was flat, it carried an extraordinary pressure. Their figures trembled, and they immediately shut their mouths and stood obediently at the side. The Grand Elder looked at Willow Tree and said, "Of course, we can't rule out the possibility that someone is slandering you. So, you have to cooperate with our investigation." "What if I don't cooperate?" said Willow Tree. "Don't cooperate? As an elder of the Nether Hall, you should be clearly aware of the consequences of betraying the Nether Hall," said the Grand Elder. Sigh. Willow Tree sighed deeply. It seemed that there was no other way out. Boom! Suddenly, the Grand Elder released his divine consciousness and instantly enveloped the entire hall. Willow Tree knew that things were not good. As expected. In the next moment, the Grand Elder caught sight of the ancient castle, and killing intent surged in his eyes. He looked at Willow Tree and said sternly, "Who's hiding in the dark?" "Qin Feiyang." "Where's Qin Feiyang?" The two people in charge were bewildered. Swoosh! At the same time, an invisible force appeared out of thin air and swept up Willow Tree before disappearing without a trace. As expected, it's Qin Feiyang. The Grand Elder said word by word, and the power of a false god surged out. A barrier instantly appeared and enveloped the entire hall. Inside the ancient castle, Qin Feiyang's face was gloomy. He was about to drive the ancient castle away from this place. However, he did not expect the Grand Elder to react so quickly and directly seal the surrounding void. Willow Tree's face was also gloomy. He said, "The matter has been exposed. There's no other choice. I'll go out and destroy the barrier. You come and help me." "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded and waved his hand. Willow Tree immediately appeared in the hall. "Bastard, you actually became a traitor." Chapter 1563. Since things have come to this, I won't explain anything. Let's fight. Break for me. Willow Tree roared, and the power of the false god poured out like a torrent toward the barrier. Rumble. Accompanied by a loud bang, the barrier shattered. The terrifying shockwave instantly destroyed the entire hall. Moreover, Willow Tree did not retract the power of the false god. The power of the false god continued to rush forward. Huge buildings collapsed one after another. Willow Tree shouted, "Qin Feiyang, quick!" Inside the ancient castle, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and brought Willow Tree into the ancient castle. Willow Tree said in a deep voice, "The power of the false god that I left behind is enough to destroy the entire Peach Blossom City. The First Elder will not let this happen and will definitely stop it. Let's take the opportunity to escape." Qin Feiyang nodded and immediately fled out of the city on his spatial divine item. As Willow Tree expected, the First Elder did not chase after them. Instead, he went to stop the false god's power. Boom! However, 4 figures suddenly rushed out from the city below. These 4 people all looked very old, but their auras were extremely strong. As soon as the 4 of them appeared, the power of the false god surged out and condensed into a huge barrier, trapping the ancient castle inside. What? Willow Tree's expression changed drastically. "Who are they?" Qin Feiyang asked. Willow Tree said word by word, "They are the Second Elder, Third Elder, Fourth Elder, and Fifth Elder of the Nether Hall." Damn! Including the First Elder, there are 5 elders. In order to prevent you from escaping, they really put in a lot of effort. Yu Huang heard the commotion and stopped sorting the herbs. He ran to Qin Feiyang and Willow Tree's side and exclaimed as he looked at the people on the screen. Willow Tree smiled bitterly. He did not feel honored at all. He only felt that he was unlucky. How could he escape when the 5 elders had arrived? Useless. Aren't they just 5 old men? What are you afraid of? Let me out. I'll use my divine weapon to beat them to a pulp. Yu Huang said proudly. Naive. Not long ago, we killed Mu He. Everyone in Peach Blossom City saw it. The Great Elder and the others must have already received the news. If I'm not mistaken, they must have brought along divine artifacts as well. Willow Tree sneered. This, Yu Huang immediately lost his temper. At this moment, with a loud bang, the Great Elder shattered the pseudo-god force and rushed into the divine power barrier. What should we do? Willow Tree looked at Qin Feiyang. With the combined strength of the 5 elders, it was impossible for him and Yu Huang to kill their way out. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. The Great Elder suddenly shouted, "Traitor, hurry up and come out for this old man." What's the situation? It's actually the 5 elders of the Nether Hall. What are they doing in Peach Blossom City? Who's the traitor? Peach Blossom City was not big to begin with. With such a big commotion, it immediately alarmed everyone. Everyone soared into the sky and looked at the 5 great elders and the divine power barrier, discussing animatedly. Whoosh! At the main tower's stronghold, Wang Yuanshan also stood in the air, looking at the divine power barrier with a sneer on his face. Grandfather, what's going on? Wang Yuer suddenly rose into the air and looked at Wang Yuanshan. Of course it's to vent your anger for you. Wang Yuanshan said dotingly. Vent my anger for me? Wang Yuer was suspicious. Willow Tree, Qin Feiyang, if you don't come out, don't blame this old man for being impolite. The Great Elder roared again. Willow Tree. Qin Feiyang. Wang Yuer was stunned. She looked at Wang Yuanshan in surprise and asked, why are they trapped? Wait a minute, you said you would help me vent my anger. Could it be that you? That's right. I sent someone to inform the Nether Hall. Wang Yuanshan nodded. Grandfather, you're going too far. Did you ask for my opinion before doing this? Do you know that Qin Feiyang has always been amenable to coaxing but not coercion? You'll only make him hate me more. Wang Yuer said angrily. She turned to look at the divine power barrier and shook her head. No, I have to help them. You'll help. What do you have to help? With your little strength? Wang Yuanshan grabbed her and said angrily. Wang Yuer said, I'm not very strong, but I can't just watch Qin Feiyang fall into a desperate situation. Silly child. Grandfather is doing this for your own good. Just wait and see. Grandfather promises that Qin Feiyang will obediently apologize to you later. Amenable to coaxing but not coercion. This old man doesn't believe that he can be stubborn in the face of the threat of death. Wang Yuanshan said disdainfully. Looking at Wang Yuanshan's face, Wang Yuer's face was filled with disappointment. She muttered, Qin Feiyang is right. I shouldn't have trusted you and told you about the willow tree. How dare you? Wang Yuanshan was furious and shouted, Men. 2 burly men flew into the air. Both of them were 9-star combat emperors. Wang Yuanshan shouted, Take good care of the young miss for this old man. If anything happens to her, this old man will hold you responsible. Yes. The 2 burly men responded and stood on Wang Yuer's left and right. They said respectfully, Young miss, don't make things difficult for us. Grandfather. Wang Yuer glared at Wang Yuanshan, but Wang Yuanshan ignored her. He stared at the divine power barrier, his brows filled with hostility. Obviously. He was still a self-centered person. Wang Yuer contradicted him in public, which made him very unhappy. Inside the divine power barrier, the great elder's face became more and more gloomy. He suddenly waved his hand and shouted, "Attack!" The second elder, the third elder, the fourth elder, and the fifth elder moved in unison. Waves of pseudo-divine power surged and blasted towards the ancient castle. They could all use their divine sense to lock onto the ancient castle, so the pseudo-divine power could accurately bombard the ancient castle. Rumble. Under the bombardment of the pseudo-divine power, ear-splitting noises constantly rang out in the ancient castle. Willow Tree and Yu Huang were extremely hesitant. If the ancient castle was destroyed, what would they do? However, as time passed, the ancient castle was still intact. The man and the beast couldn't help but be surprised. He was too resistant to being beaten up. Qin Feiyang laughed, "In this world, I have never seen anything that can damage the ancient castle." Ah! Willow Tree and Yu Huang were stunned. So confident? Yu Huang said angrily, "Then why didn't you say so earlier? You made me worry for so long. It's not like you haven't seen the ancient castle's power. What are you afraid of? When we were outside, facing the fire dragon and the guardian python, the ancient castle could contend with them, let alone a few pseudo-gods." Qin Feiyang said disdainfully. "This, I was nervous and forgot." Yu Huang smiled embarrassedly. Outside, the great elder's eyes gradually revealed a trace of disbelief. It seemed that the spatial divine item in Qin Feiyang's hand was not just a simple spatial divine item. "Then this old man wants to see if your spatial divine item is harder or if my divine item is sharper." The great elder's eyes suddenly flashed with a sharp light. Accompanied by a loud clang, a ray of light shot out from between his eyebrows. In an instant, a sharp light that could tear heaven and earth rolled out in the divine power barrier. "Great Elder, you can't revive the divine item." "Yes. Once the two divine items collide, Peach Blossom City will not be able to hold on." Seeing this, the second elder, third elder, fourth elder, and fifth elder hurriedly shouted. The great elder said, "If we can't hold on, let them withdraw from Peach Blossom City first." This, the four elders looked at each other with a troubled expression on their faces. Peach Blossom City did not belong to the Nether Palace. They did not have the authority. Moreover, Wang Yuanshan was watching from afar. They had to ask Wang Yuanshan's opinion on whether to withdraw or not. Wang Yuanshan's eyes flashed, and he shouted, "The people of the main tower, withdraw from Peach Blossom City immediately." The great elder and the other four were stunned and looked at Wang Yuanshan in surprise. So straightforward. Logically speaking, as Wang Yuer's relative, shouldn't he protect Qin Feiyang? Wait. Could it be that Wang Yuanshan was the one who leaked the secret? When Wang Yuanshan sent someone to leak the news, he did not reveal his identity, so the people of the Nether Palace still did not know that all of this was done by Wang Yuanshan. However, no matter what the reason was, it was a good thing for them. Because, once the main tower withdrew, the others would naturally withdraw with them. After all, now that the stronghold of the Heavenly Sun Empire had been uprooted, only the Nether Palace and the main tower were left in Peach Blossom City. In the face of a confrontation between fake gods, the others did not want to retreat. In order to survive, they had to retreat. The great elder shouted, "The people of the Nether Palace, withdraw from Peach Blossom City immediately." The people of the two forces immediately packed up their things and retreated out of the city. When the others in the city saw this, they could only quickly pack up their valuables and leave the city with them. In less than 100 breaths, the huge Peach Blossom City became an empty city. Wang Yuer was also brought to the sky above a huge mountain in the distance by the two burly men. At this point, the only people left in Peach Blossom City were the 5 elders of the Nether Palace and Wang Yuanshan. In the ancient castle. Seeing this scene, Yu Huang ran into Qin Feiyang's arms like a frightened little girl and said in a coquettish voice, "Brother Qin, I'm scared." Hearing this, Qin Feiyang's scalp exploded. He grabbed Yu Huang and threw him aside. He said angrily, "Can you not disgust me?" "I'm not disgust you. I'm scared to begin with. Look, they've already vacated the place. They must be planning to fight with us. Do you think we'll die?" Yu Huang said, feeling wronged. Qin Feiyang rubbed his forehead. He really began to wonder if Yu Huang was interested in him. He couldn't think about it anymore. Because when he thought about it, he couldn't help but feel a chill. What a weirdo. Willow Tree shook his head speechlessly. However, as he slowly got along with them, he realized that these people and beasts were quite cute. When everyone was together, there was no sense of restraint. They were free. They could say whatever they wanted. They could do whatever they wanted. This kind of life was not bad. However, he could only silently envy this kind of life. Because he knew that Qin Feiyang couldn't stay in the Black Tortoise world forever. He couldn't leave the Black Tortoise world either. This was also the reason why he was so disgusted with Wang Yuer. If this matter hadn't been exposed, when Qin Feiyang left the Black Tortoise world, he could still live as usual. He would still be an elder of the Nether Palace and respected by tens of thousands of people. Nothing would change. As for the things that happened after meeting Qin Feiyang, he would treat it as if they had never happened. But now, he was already a traitor of the Nether Palace. Once Qin Feiyang left, he would be alone. Chapter 1564. Outside. A battle sword was suspended in front of the Great Elder. It was 3 feet long and 2 fingers wide. It was silver-white as if it was cast from mercury. "Revive with this old man!" the Great Elder roared. All the people in the city evacuated. The second elder, the third elder, the fourth elder, and the fifth elder did not hesitate. The power of the false god rolled out and poured into the battle sword. Boom! Clang! The battle sword suddenly shone brightly. The terrifying sharpness could topple mountains and overturn seas. The city below was instantly annihilated. The earth was also trembling and cracking crazily. From afar, it was like the scene of the end of the world. A cold light surged in the Great Elder's eyes as he shouted, "I'll ask you one last time, are you coming out or not? Are you coming out or not?" Willow Tree asked. The artifact had been revived. He really had no confidence in the ancient castle. "Don't be nervous," Qin Feiyang said lightly. "Stubborn." The Great Elder's eyes were cold. He grabbed the battle sword and rushed toward the ancient castle. At the same time, his divine sense firmly locked onto the ancient castle. Because he had locked onto the ancient castle, he could accurately hit the ancient castle. Clang! In the blink of an eye, the Great Elder's sword slashed on the ancient castle, and dazzling sparks suddenly appeared in the void. However, the next moment, then, a shocking scene unfolded. When the battle sword collided with the ancient castle, the Great Elder immediately felt a strong rebound force. Clang! The battle sword was immediately bounced away. The Great Elder also took a few steps back. He was shocked. But the next moment, he seemed to have discovered something and stared at the blade of the battle sword. His eyes widened, and his face was instantly filled with disbelief. There was a gap on the blade. How could this be? When the second elder and the other 3 saw this scene, they were also in extreme disbelief. Inside the ancient castle, Willow Tree and Yu Huang were also dumbfounded. This ancient castle was going to be awesome. One must know. At this moment, the battle sword was in a state of recovery. The ancient castle had not recovered, but it actually made a gap on the battle sword. Amazing! Willow Tree gave him a thumbs up. Yu Huang smiled sinisterly and said, since they can't break through the castle's defenses, then let's just ignore them and continue to hide here. Drag this out? Willow Tree was stunned and immediately retorted, no. Why not? Yu Huang was suspicious. Qin Feiyang also said, that's true. What do you mean? Yu Huang was puzzled. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, we can only stay here for half a year. Yeah. Yu Huang was suddenly enlightened. The Black Tortoise world had the power of demons. He had to leave this place within half a year. Otherwise, he would be assimilated by the demonic energy and form a demonic imprint. Once the devil mark appeared, they would never be able to leave the Black Tortoise world for the rest of their lives. In other words, they had no time to waste here. How can a spatial divine item be so terrifying? Not far away. Wang Yuanshan was also dumbfounded. He vaguely realized that he might have made a big mistake. Nether Hall, allow me to lend you a hand. But suddenly, a long roar rolled over. A white-haired youth with a monstrous aura streaked across the sky and rushed in front of the Great Elder like lightning. Mu Xingxing. The 5 Great Elders narrowed their eyes. That's right. This white-haired youth was Mu Xingxing, who had saved Mu Tianyang not long ago. It was obvious that he had returned for Qin Feiyang. What are you doing here? The Great Elder frowned. He killed people of my Tianyang Empire and destroyed our stronghold. If we don't take revenge, the heavens will not tolerate it. Mu Xingxing shouted, his voice like a bell, resounding through the night sky. It's really over this time. Since Mu Xingxing is so confident, he must have brought a divine artifact with him. Willow Tree's face was filled with despair. Yu Huang's eyelids twitched as he hurriedly looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, Boss Qin, can this castle block the 2 divine artifacts together? Qin Feiyang also hesitated. He had never encountered such a situation before, so he wasn't sure either. I can tell from your expression that it's over. Yu Huang shrank and looked at Willow Tree, I didn't expect to die with a villain like you. What a shame. Willow Tree was about to get angry. But Yu Huang shook his head and sighed, fine, since I'm going to die soon, let's forget about the grudge between us. Willow Tree paused and said angrily, can we not talk nonsense now? In any case, we are both false gods. If we fight, we might be able to find a way to survive. Fight? 2 god artifacts, 6 semi-divinities, and Wang Yuanshan. Do you really think that the 2 of us will stand a chance against them? Yu Huang snorted coldly. Willow Tree went silent and gritted his teeth, I don't want to die. No matter what, I have to try. Clang. At this time, Mu Xingxing also took out a 3-foot-long sword, which was glowing with a cold light. Cyan Rainbow Sword. Willow Tree's eyes darkened. Come on. Let's work together to break that spatial divine artifact. Mu Xingxing held the Cyan Rainbow Sword and looked at First Elder. Okay. First Elder nodded. The 2 swords soared into the sky at the same time. The quasi-divinity energy of the 6 quasi-divinity cultivators gushed into Yang Kai's body. A gust of wind suddenly blew in this world. The sharpness tore the sky and split the earth. Kill! Mu Xingxing and First Elder roared at the same time, and the 2 swords slashed the void and directly hit the ancient castle. Clang! Clang! The loud sound was deafening. In the void, flames burst out, dazzling like fireworks. However, even the 2 divine artifacts couldn't break the ancient castle. On the contrary, the ancient castle once again bounced the 2 divine artifacts away. A crack appeared on the blade of the Cyan Rainbow Sword. The crack on the Great Elder's sword also became larger. This scene made Mu Xingxing, the 5 elders, and Wang Yuanshan, who was not far away, tremble. They couldn't say a word for a long time. 2 swords. And 2 revived swords couldn't do anything to a spatial divine artifact. What level was the spatial divine artifact in Qin Feiyang's hands? It was too ridiculous. Awesome! Willow Tree exclaimed. What's this? When we fought with the Guardians of the Miracle, this ancient castle also used the power of law. Yu Huang said proudly. However, his eyes were full of shock. Qin Feiyang, who had been silent all this time, suddenly had a flash of light in his eyes. He said disdainfully, "Do you think this kind of battle array can scare me? Naive." Naive? Willow Tree and Yu Huang were stunned. Later, do as I say, and I promise you will be fine. Maybe you can even kill them and seize the 2 swords in their hands. Qin Feiyang sneered. Really? The man and the beast were surprised. Qin Feiyang nodded. If you really seize the 2 swords, can you give them to us? After all, we have done a lot for you. The man and the beast looked at Qin Feiyang expectantly. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. The man and the beast suddenly became excited and asked, "Tell us, we will listen to you." Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "They have divine artifacts, so do we." Divine artifacts? Are you talking about this emperor's divine weapon? No, my divine artifacts can't compete with theirs. Yu Huang hurriedly said. Your divine artifacts certainly can't, but Chang Shui can. Willow Tree. Qin Feiyang looked at Willow Tree. Here. Willow Tree looked at him. Qin Feiyang took out Chang Shui, erased the blood contract inside, and said, "I will give you Chang Shui first. Don't let me down." Willow Tree glanced at Chang Shui and asked suspiciously, "Can it do?" "Absolutely no problem." Qin Feiyang smiled confidently. "Boy, you are in luck. This Chang Shui is the boss's treasure. Many people can't even touch it." Fatso pouted. Willow Tree immediately took Chang Shui, dripped blood on it, and then bowed, "Thank you for your trust, young master." Qin Feiyang smiled, waved his hand, and left the castle with Willow Tree and Yu Huang. Finally out. Looking at the 2 people and 1 beast, the first elder smiled coldly. Mu Xingxing looked at Qin Feiyang proudly, and said, "Before, you relied on the artifact, you were tyrannical and killed my people. Now it is my turn to teach you a lesson. If you know what's good for you, kneel there and let me capture you, or what?" Qin Feiyang asked. "Or what?" Mu Xingxing sneered arrogantly. "I will make you wish you were dead." He said in a sonorous voice, "I will make you beg for death." Qin Feiyang just smiled. Qin Feiyang. At this time, Wang Yuanshan's voice sounded. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows, turned to look at Wang Yuanshan, and said lightly, "What's the matter?" Wang Yuanshan said, "You are no match for them, give up." Qin Feiyang sneered, "Isn't this thanks to you?" "Thanks to Wang Yuanshan." "What do you mean?" Mu Xingxing and the 5 elders were suspicious. At the same time, hearing Qin Feiyang's words, Wang Yuanshan's heart trembled. Had he found out? Qin Feiyang shook his head and said disappointedly, "Wang Yu trusted you, so she told you everything about the Willow Tree. But what about you? What did you do? Don't tell me you didn't do it." "So that's how it is." The 5 elders of the Nether Hall suddenly understood. They were wondering why Wang Yuanshan didn't help Qin Feiyang. It turned out that it was Wang Yuanshan who leaked the news. Humph. So what if it was me? Wang Yuanshan snorted and said, "How dare you bully my descendant? Even if you are the descendant of the Qin Emperor, I won't let you off easily. You will regret it." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed red. In the distance, hearing Qin Feiyang's words, Wang Yu's body trembled, and her face turned pale. She knew Qin Feiyang too well. If others didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend them. If he was offended, it would be useless even if the heavenly emperor came down. Grandfather, how long are you going to be wrong? Do you know that you are angering a terrifying killer? She cried in her heart. But Wang Yuanshan didn't think so. Regret? In Wang Yuanshan's dictionary, there had never been such a word. Cut the crap. I'll give you a chance now. No, this opportunity is given to you out of charity. Wang Yuanshan looked at Qin Feiyang and sneered. Charity. Chapter 1565. Apologize to you, immediately. Swear in front of everyone that you'll listen to you, and join the main pagoda. As long as you agree, I'll immediately help you. With me around, the Nether Hall and the Heavenly Sun Empire won't dare to do anything to you. Wang Yuanshan said proudly. Hearing Wang Yuanshan's words, Qin Feiyang didn't take it to heart at all. However, Mu Xingkong and the 5 elders of the Nether Hall were extremely annoyed. Isn't it just because you have the Vanga League behind you? Why are you so arrogant? After leaving the Vanga League, your main pagoda and Wang Yuanshan are nothing. Wang Yuanshan looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, what do you think? Qin Feiyang smiled but didn't say anything. As long as you're willing to lower your head, you, the willow tree, and the spirit snake can all live. However, if you're stubborn, then I can only collect your corpses. Actually, it's not difficult to lower your head. What's there to hesitate about? Would you rather give up your life to protect your pitiful self-esteem? There's no need. It's good to be alive. If you're dead, it's useless no matter how talented you are or how terrifying your identity is. Wang Yuanshan joked. Interesting, I thought you were just protecting your family, but now I know that you're not protecting them at all. Do you know what it's called? It's called a hypocritical villain. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Wang Yu said, Feiyang, my grandfather didn't do it on purpose. Please forgive him. Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked at Wang Yu, through the layers of void. Wang Yu's face was covered in tears, and she was extremely anxious. Qin Feiyang said, this is between me and your grandfather, so please don't interfere and don't hate me. Wang Yu's eyes trembled. The meaning of these words was very obvious. Qin Feiyang already wanted to kill her grandfather. Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and looked at Wang Yuanshan. You can break your head and bleed, but you can't lose your dignity. Just stand there and watch how I kill them with your eyes wide open. After saying that, he suddenly shouted, Willow Tree, Yu Huang, do it. Willow Tree immediately revived Chang Shui. Yu Huang also jumped onto Willow Tree's shoulder and poured his false god power into Chang Shui. With the 2 false gods working together, Chang Shui instantly entered a state of recovery. Kill them? This old man really wants to see how you 3 ants are going to kill them. Wang Yuanshan smiled contemptuously and quickly retreated into the distance. Seeing that Wang Yuanshan had retreated, Mu Xingkong and the 5 elders of the Nether Pavilion immediately took action and revived the 2 swords. For a moment. In this world, the wind howled and the terrifying sharpness covered the sky. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and entered the ancient castle. He stood in the middle of the ancient castle and looked at the scene in front of him. He's actually hiding again? Mu Xingkong raised his eyebrows. Don't worry, after we kill the traitor Willow Tree and the ghost snake, he will naturally come out and beg for mercy in despair. The great elder laughed sinisterly. That's true. The corner of Mu Xingkong's mouth raised, he grabbed the azure rainbow sword and charged towards Willow Tree and Yu Huang. The great elder also controlled the other sword and charged towards the man and beast from the other side. Can this Chang Shui really work? Seeing this, Willow Tree couldn't help but feel guilty and sent a sound transmission to Yu Huang. Won't you know once you try? Yu Huang laughed secretly. Willow Tree took a deep breath. In the blink of an eye. At this moment, Chang Shui no longer looked like an ornamental piece of art. It shone brightly and was extremely dazzling. A destructive aura shrouded in all directions. Go! Yu Huang shouted. Willow Tree's eyes flashed fiercely. He grabbed Chang Shui and rushed towards the azure rainbow sword. No! You will directly destroy the azure rainbow sword. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang hurriedly sent a message to Willow Tree. Destroy the azure rainbow sword? How is this possible? Willow Tree didn't believe it. No matter what, the azure rainbow sword was still a divine artifact. How could it be destroyed so easily? He raised Chang Shui and faced the azure rainbow sword. With a clang, accompanied by sparks, the azure rainbow sword broke in an instant. This, Willow Tree was stunned. He actually destroyed the azure rainbow sword. How is this possible? On the opposite side, Mu Xingkong, the 5 elders of the Nether Hall, and Wang Yuanshan were all petrified when they saw this scene. Unbelievable. How could a divine artifact be broken so easily? This must be a joke. How could such a ridiculous thing happen? What a pity, this is a divine artifact. If I had known, I would have listened to the young master. After Willow Tree came back to his senses, he couldn't help but bleed. However, after seeing the power of Chang Shui, Willow Tree's confidence returned and he was in high spirits. He suddenly turned around and stared at the 5 elders of the Nether Pavilion as he laughed coldly. I've been unable to bear the sight of all of you old bastards since a long time ago. You rely on your seniority to flaunt your strength before me all the time. I've really spoiled all of you. The 5 elders' faces were as dark as water. Although Willow Tree was also an elder of the Nether Hall and was as famous as them, their seniority was indeed higher than Willow Tree's. Therefore, they had always had a premonition when facing Willow Tree. At this moment, seeing Willow Tree insulting them in public, they were naturally unhappy. What's wrong? Are you not feeling well? I'm not only going to scold you today, but I'm also going to beat you up. I'll let you know that I'm not to be trifled with. Lu Mu roared. He turned around and grabbed Pale Snow. Then, he faced the battle sword. The 5 elders' expressions changed. The Grand Elder hurriedly withdrew his battle sword. They didn't want this divine artifact to follow in the footsteps of the rainbow sword. Trash! You don't even have the courage to face me head-on. I really don't understand. What right do you have to point fingers at me in the past? Lu Mu smiled proudly and charged towards the Great Elder like a bolt of lightning. He has a heaven-defying divine artifact. We're no match for him. Retreat! The Grand Elder shouted and was about to reach out to grab the battle sword. But suddenly, Qin Feiyang appeared in front of him out of thin air. The Grand Elder was shocked and instinctively slapped toward Qin Feiyang. However, Qin Feiyang's target was not him at all. Qin Feiyang grabbed the battle sword and disappeared without a trace in an instant. How could this be? The Grand Elder was immediately stunned. The moment the battle sword and Qin Feiyang disappeared, he immediately felt that he had lost contact with the battle sword. What kind of divine artifact did Qin Feiyang use that it could cut off the blood contract between him and the divine artifact? Be careful, Grand Elder. Suddenly, the 2nd Elder, the 3rd Elder, the 4th Elder, and the 5th Elder shouted and rushed toward the Grand Elder at the same time. The Grand Elder quivered and came back to his senses. He saw that Willow Tree and Yu Huang had already arrived. Get out of my way! Beiming Yu Huang soared into the air, instantly transforming into her true form. Her gigantic tail that resembled a mountain range slammed towards the 4 elders. Willow Tree grabbed Chang Shui and charged toward the Grand Elder. Boom! Although Yu Huang's strength was not simple, his opponents were 4 false gods after all. The 4 elders attacked at the same time and collided with the giant tail. Yu Huang was immediately sent flying. His giant tail was smashed and blood and flesh splattered all over the sky, dyeing the sky red. However, at the same time, the Grand Elder was fatally injured. Although he came back to his senses after being reminded by the four elders, Willow Tree was already very close to him. It should be noted that Willow Tree was not weak either. At such a close distance, the Grand Elder could not retreat at all. He could only hastily counterattack. The result was as expected. Willow Tree used Chang Shui to directly cut off one of the Grand Elder's arms and slapped the Grand Elder's lower abdomen. With a crack, the Grand Elder's lower abdomen caved in on the spot. His flesh was badly mangled and his energy reserve was also shattered. His entire body was sent flying like a dead dog. Big brother. The four elders hurriedly went up and caught the Grand Elder. Willow Tree also turned to look at Yu Huang and asked, "Are you all right?" "Don't worry. This emperor's life is very tough. Hurry up and kill them." Yu Huang cackled. "No problem." Willow Tree glanced at Chang Shui, licked his lips, and stared at the five elders of the Nether Pavilion with a murderous look in his eyes. Whoosh! In the next moment, he used an assist-type divine art and charged toward the five of them aggressively. "Willow Tree, how long are you going to help the evildoers? Do you want to bear the name of a traitor for the rest of your life? It's not too late to turn back now." The second elder and the others shouted angrily. His previous arrogance and insufferably arrogance had completely vanished, leaving behind only fear and shame. The five of them had come together with a god artifact, but Zhang Xian was able to turn the tables around with just a single dagger. Willow Tree alone was enough to make them lose their courage and feel helpless. If news of this spread, wouldn't the world laugh at them? Turn back. There's no need. As long as I follow the young master, Willow Tree won't be afraid even if the Tower Master comes personally, let alone you old fogies. Willow Tree sneered. At the same time, Mu Xingkong looked at the unstoppable Willow Tree with fear in his eyes. But more than that, he was angry. Divine artifacts were very rare in the Black Tortoise world. Even his Heavenly Sun Empire only had a few. Once he lost a divine artifact, his Heavenly Sun Empire's strength would plummet. Most importantly, his pride couldn't bear this kind of humiliation. Whether it was in the outside world or now, he was a monstrous genius that everyone worshipped and looked up to. But now, he was defeated by ants like Qin Feiyang. However, Chang Shui's terror made him lose his temper and despair. Seeing that Willow Tree and Yu Huang didn't pay attention to him, he opened a portal and fled. "Hey! Do you really think I didn't pay attention to you?" But at the same time, Yu Huang grinned. Her gigantic body was like a meteor, directly smashing towards the teleportation gate. "Damn it!" Mu Xingkong was furious and raised his hand to slap Yu Huang. "Do you think I don't exist?" However, at this time, Qin Feiyang's voice suddenly sounded behind him. Qin Feiyang suddenly appeared out of thin air. Mu Xingkong's body and mind tightened and without hesitation, he threw a punch. He was confident. This punch could directly kill Qin Feiyang. But in the end, his punch hit the air. Because Qin Feiyang entered the castle again. At this moment, Yu Huang also came down. Mu Xingkong hurriedly attacked Yu Huang. But Qin Feiyang appeared behind him again. Furthermore, it was completely silent. Chapter 1566. Clang. Mu Xingkong felt dizzy. Although he had the body of a false god, the castle was a supreme artifact. His skull cracked open on the spot. Blood gushed out. The excruciating pain made him howl in pain. "This is my chance." Yu Huang's eyes flashed with a cold light. His body quickly shrank and shot into Mu Xingkong's lower abdomen like an arrow. Ah, there was another wail, and a bloody hole appeared on Mu Xingkong's lower abdomen, penetrating from the front to the back. Gasp! Seeing this, Wang Yuanshan sucked in a breath of cold air from afar. A peerless genius was crippled by Qin Feiyang and Yu Huang just like that. Even a false god like him couldn't compare to such means. On the other side, Willow Tree was unstoppable with the Chang Shui in his hand. Like the first elder, the third elder's cultivation had been crippled. The second elder, the fourth elder, and the fifth elder still had their cultivation, but they were in a sorry state. When they saw that Mu Xingkong's cultivation was also crippled by Qin Feiyang and Yu Huang, they were even more terrified. "Run!" the second elder shouted. The fourth elder and the fifth elder immediately picked up the first elder and the third elder and ran for their lives. "Run! Did you ask for my permission?" Willow Tree sneered and chased after them. The second elder stepped in front of Willow Tree and shouted without looking back, "Don't worry about him. Run, I'll stop him." "You. Can you stop the Chang Shui in my hand?" Willow Tree sneered and raised the Chang Shui to attack the second elder. Clang! The Chang Shui buzzed and trembled. It was as if there was an ancient demonic beast sealed inside, releasing a terrifying aura. The second elder's pupils contracted and he stared at the Chang Shui. This dagger was the incarnation of the devil. It was too terrifying and made people despair. He couldn't figure it out. How could there be such a terrifying divine artifact in this world? How could such a divine artifact fall into the hands of a mere Qin Feiyang? "Die, you old bastard!" Willow Tree's long hair danced madly in the wind, making him look like a demon god. The resentment and humiliation he had accumulated in the Nether Pavilion over the years were completely released at this moment. Seeing Chang Shui showing off his abilities, the second elder couldn't help but feel his vision go dark, as if he had lost all light. Could he really defeat this dagger? He suspected more than once. In his heart, he did not have the slightest bit of courage to fight. He was drowned in despair and panic. Second elder. The fourth elder and the fifth elder shouted anxiously when they saw this. The second elder quivered and immediately woke up from the abyss of despair. He roared, "Go, don't look back. I will definitely stop him. Remember, avenge me." Willow Tree was shocked. Qin Feiyang, Yu Huang, and Wang Yuanshan also looked at the second elder in surprise. Boom! The next moment, a destructive aura rushed out of the second elder's body. He's going to self-destruct his body. Retreat! Wang Yuanshan's eyes widened and he suddenly roared. He took Wang Yuer and the people of the main tower and flew away without looking back. What? Self-destruct his body? He's a false god. If he self-destructs his body, do you think we can survive? The expressions of the other people who were watching the battle from afar immediately changed. They all fled in fear, not holding back at all. Second elder. The fourth elder and the fifth elder roared angrily again. Quick! The second elder roared. The fourth elder gritted his teeth and looked at Qin Feiyang, Willow Tree, and Yu Huang. He roared, "I swear that if I don't kill you, I'm not human." Then he turned to look at the fifth elder and shouted, "Let's go." The fifth elder nodded, also filled with grief and anger. Then the two of them each carried one person and turned around to escape. Damn it! Willow Tree roared angrily and did not chase after them. He quickly rushed to meet up with Qin Feiyang. The power of a false god's self-destruction was not ordinary terrifying. Even if he was a false god, he would be obliterated on the spot. Quick! At the same time, Qin Feiyang also grabbed Yu Huang and anxiously shouted at him. In the face of a false god's self-destruction, how could Yu Huang dare to be negligent? He immediately took Qin Feiyang and rushed toward Willow Tree. Go to hell with me. The second elder looked at Qin Feiyang and Yu Huang. His old eyes flashed with incomparable madness. With a sinister laugh, his physical body was shattered into pieces. A wave of destructive air suddenly emerged like a torrent, with this place as the center, rolling in all directions. Willow Tree's face changed. He exerted all of his strength. But the air wave was getting closer and closer. A fatal crisis shrouded his heart. But just as Willow Tree was about to be swallowed by the air wave, Qin Feiyang finally arrived. He waved his hand and immediately disappeared without a trace with Willow Tree, Yu Huang, and Mu Xingxing. Boom! Crack! The air wave rolled in all directions. Looking from afar, the area within a radius of tens of thousands of miles was like an apocalypse. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Magma erupted. The wind roared between the sky and the earth, destroying everything. Inside the ancient castle, Qin Feiyang and the others looked at this scene with fear on their faces. Although Qin Feiyang had seen the scene of a false god's self-destruction in the endless ocean, he could not help but feel frightened when he saw it again. That was close. Willow Tree was covered in cold sweat. If Qin Feiyang was one step later, the consequences would be unimaginable. Chang Shui, here you are. Taking a deep breath, Willow Tree reluctantly erased the blood contract in Chang Shui and then handed it to Qin Feiyang. This dagger was the most powerful divine artifact he had ever seen in his life. But unfortunately, it was not his dagger. It was a pity. Qin Feiyang glanced at Willow Tree, took the Chang Shui, and said with a smile, "You passed my test." Huh? Willow Tree was stunned and asked, "What do you mean?" "I gave you pale snow. On one hand, it was to kill the enemy. On the other hand, it was to test you. If you dare to do anything bad, I will kill you without hesitation. But you didn't, so I want to congratulate you." Qin Feiyang smiled. Willow Tree suddenly understood. Qin Feiyang smiled and dripped blood on Chang Shui again. Then, he reached out his hand and said with a smile, "Now, on behalf of everyone, I formally welcome you to this big family." Fatso and the others also opened their eyes and looked at Willow Tree with smiles. Willow Tree looked at them one by one and finally fixed his eyes on Qin Feiyang. He said with a wry smile, "You are really willing to use Chang Shui to test me." Speaking of this, Willow Tree frowned and said again, "Aren't you afraid that I will really betray you?" At that time, I had already dripped blood on Chang Shui. Even if you erase my soul, Chang Shui will not come back to you. Chang Shui will always be mine. This will not change even if you drip blood on it. Qin Feiyang smiled confidently. Really? Willow Tree was surprised. To be honest, I don't know where Chang Shui came from. But somehow, I have a feeling that it is a part of my life. I can't leave it, and it can't leave me. Qin Feiyang rubbed pale snow. His actions were very gentle, and his gaze was also very gentle. It was as if he was supporting his own child. So mysterious. Willow Tree was stunned. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and put away Chang Shui. He looked at Willow Tree and said with a smile, "What? Don't you want to join us?" "Yes, yes." Willow Tree nodded repeatedly, but his expression was extremely gloomy. He said, "But we will be separated in the end." "Because of the devil mark?" Qin Feiyang asked. "Yes." Willow Tree nodded and sighed. "If the devil mark is not removed, I will never be able to leave the Black Tortoise realm." Qin Feiyang said, "Let me see your devil mark." Willow Tree tore open his clothes. On his chest, a blood-red ghost face entered everyone's sight. The ghost face was the size of a palm and looked like a skull, giving off a gloomy feeling. Qin Feiyang looked at it for a moment and frowned. "Have you tried to erase this mark?" "Of course. Not only me, everyone in the Black Tortoise realm has tried. Some people cut off the skin here. Some people used a soldering iron to destroy the mark. But not long after, the devil mark will appear again. Rumor has it that there is only one way to truly erase the devil mark, and that is to destroy the Black Tortoise realm and break the rules here. But who can destroy such a big little world? Willow Tree sighed. Destroy the Black Tortoise realm and break the rules, Qin Fei Yang murmured. From the looks of it, this was indeed something that could not be done. But he always believed that nothing was absolute. Don't be discouraged. There is always a way. I believe that there will always be a way. Qin Fei Yang patted Willow Tree's shoulder and comforted him, then looked up at the scene in front of him. In the scene, the wind was whistling non-stop. Destructive fluctuations enveloped a radius of tens of thousands of miles. For a while, they would definitely not be able to get out. He pondered for a while and turned to look at Mu Xinkong. Mu Xinkong was lying on the side, the bloody hole in his lower abdomen was still bleeding, and his face was full of weakness. At this moment, he was looking at the ancient castle, as well as Fatso and the others. Sensing Qin Fei Yang's gaze, he also raised his head and looked at Qin Fei Yang. The moment their eyes met, invisible sparks seemed to burst out in the void. Qin Fei Yang said, looking at Mu Tianyang's attitude towards you, your relationship in the past should not be simple. Of course. The Emperor and I are not only master and disciple, but also friends. If you dare to hurt the Emperor, I will never let you go. Mu Xinkong slowly got up and smiled sinisterly. Who allowed you to stand up? Kneel down. Willow Tree swept behind Mu Xinkong and kicked him in the calf. With a plop, Mu Xinkong immediately knelt in front of Qin Fei Yang. You're courting death. Mu Xinkong suddenly turned his head and stared at Willow Tree. Oh. Willow Tree screamed and said, you still dare to be stubborn? Believe it or not, I will let you die without a complete corpse now. Mu Xinkong's face was full of disdain. If you have the guts, ask Qin Fei Yang to let me go, let's fight one-on-one. One-on-one. Not interested. But, I am very interested in beating a peerless genius like you. Willow Tree raised the corner of his mouth, raised his hand and slapped Mu Xinkong's face hard. Puff. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.